You are now listening to Nerd Rage Radio with Bobby Skullface and Adam Russman. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only and may not fit with your sensitive sensibilities. You may be a victim of meaningless outrage, or you may, in fact, be a big ninny pants. If this is the case, please feel free to turn it off now. This is no country for Ninny McNinny pants. So crack open the Mountain Dew. Make sure the cheese doodles are super fresh. We're in your mother's basement. It's Nerd Rage Radio.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Nerd Rage episode 201. And obviously, we don't have a title yet because we haven't said anything too insane. And we're still kind of recovering after 200. And also, there's a lot of emptiness in the room as opposed to a couple nights ago.
Yeah, it was everybody here, and now it's nobody.
And there's nobody here. So Chris is too busy. And
Doing them dioramas, bro.
yeah. And Adam, he told you 200 was his last one, so what do you expect?
Go.
We have not a whole lot of news today. Might not be a long episode because we did 200 on Saturday, and now it's only Tuesday.
Just 3 days ago.
So I figure we'll talk about a couple things and get into a couple extra things that we don't normally have the opportunity to get into. Make it a little different.
Yeah, because all I got to talk about is anime, and you ain't about that life.
No, not at all. I did watch some movies this week, though.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the response to 200 was overwhelmingly positive.
I just started listening back yesterday, so I'm 1 hour in this. Good times.
Yeah, people loved it. We got 99 weeks till we have another party, so people loved it. Like, I think the energy comes across of everybody being in a good place. And
yeah, it was a party just with mics on.
yeah, it was like a low key Skull Fest part too. You know,
just privates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyone have gotten the feels about not getting an invite?
No. No, I mean, basically, it was everybody that's a part of the show. And then Tyler, because he came to 100. So I was like, well, you might as well get an invite to 200
And
as well.
if you want to drive into Massachusetts?
Yeah, well, I think he's further. It's like New Hampshire, somewhere in New England. And then MP Collector had just happened to hit us up and say, he'd love to watch the show. That was prior to, and then I kind of put the brakes on it. Like, it was because it was so many people. Like, it
was packed. And
it was already, the food that we had to cook is already, like, more expenses and more, like, it was, it's crazy how quick the shit adds up.
I don't know how you host like 28 parties a year.
Yeah, it was. I'm ready to chill out now. I've had
my.
So? Yeah, I've had my.
It's like every month, right?
No, I've had my fill now. I'm good.
And it's Halloween, and then
so we might have a little crab feast,
mm-hmm.
but that'd be very, very small. I mean, dude, people around here don't eat crabs anyway.
He says small, so don't expect an invite.
Yeah. I think like it'd be like a handful of people, and that's it. We'll get one bushel, and that'd be it.
Okay.
Let's see what else. So I saw Hereditary.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that either tonight or tomorrow. How is it?
It's good.
Oh, you see, if you like something, then it's gotta be good because you're just super picky.
It's good. It creeped me out. Yeah.
Was it good all the way through?
Yeah, I loved it. And there's always every horror movie spoon feeds kind of the story, and then you kind of put it all together at the end. But there was
there's a twist or. Just don't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, there's elements of it that I still don't see coming until, even as you start to put the story together, there's still a couple elements you're like, oh my god, even that is tied to that. And
got the croutons? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, the croutons. Let's see what else I watched. Oh, god damn it. I watched Into the Spider-Verse.
And nobody's here to talk about it.
Nobody's here to talk about it. So
we got Chris who loved it, and then Adam who thinks
it was fine, but he thought it was fine. Adam said it was fine. Okay. Chris said it was the greatest movie ever. So it probably is the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Okay, that's coming from you. Personal opinion.
In my opinion. That being said, I didn't think it was great, but I really liked it.
Okay,
I really liked it.
Not like I always talk about. It doesn't have to be great for you to like something.
Yeah, well, no, but I simultaneously, I don't think it's bad either. Yeah. I just think I think it was a pretty good movie. You know what I think? Let me get a couple points in. So, Kingpin did look like he didn't belong to that world. He did look,
okay.
Yeah, and so does Scorpion.
Okay.
Scorpion looks like he doesn't belong in that world because that world is, being Miles' world it feels pretty grounded.
Yeah, I guess it's once everything got smashed together anyway, then, I just took it as a whole thing.
But I got the impression, Yeah, I guess.
Because like with Doc Ock is not.
Because that Kingpin
either.
wasn't even from Miles' world.
No.
So we don't really know maybe enough about the world where Kingpin came from to see if he fits in. Maybe.
Right. There's so many worlds.
Okay. All right. I'll take that into consideration. I'll have to watch it again. I will say that I got the impression that Scorpion was from the same world as Kingpin. Like they knew each other.
Mm-hmm. Which is they're wacky looking.
Yes, but Tombstone isn't.
Okay.
And he's from that world as well. But I like Tombstone's look, like the more suited gangster.
Yep.
You know, I thought that worked. Let me take that back. I loved Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. Like that was awesome. Yeah. There's a lot of little choices like that. The stuff they did with 2099 at the end was awesome. That might be one of my top 5 bonus scenes of the Marvel films.
Of all Spider-Man movies. Would you rate this?
I'd probably give this an 8.
No, I mean just all of them that are out.
I think this is the best one.
Number 1, better than Homecoming.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Homecoming.
Oh, wow.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
I think
you think this? Oh,
and I think this is good.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. And I think that I you know what, I might like the Garfield first one better than Homecoming.
Really?
I might.
Wow. I have to think about it. I haven't seen that one in a long time, but I know what. I loved Homecoming.
See, I didn't love Homecoming. Who was the villain in Homecoming?
Vulture. Michael Keaton.
That's right. But it didn't leave an impression. I don't know. That movie.
I mean, it's a subjective thing. Like you.
Yeah.
You.
And it's not that I think there's anything necessarily structurally bad about it. You know, where I'm like, no, this is a bad movie because of this. It just was bland to me. I guess would be the best way to say it.
Just plain.
Yeah. Not enough sauce. But. So let me tell you, now that I've said that this Spider-Verse is good and all that, let me now put my critical hat on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would have made this movie great? If it was just a Miles story, and that was it. The multiverse, pink, popcorn puffing up everywhere. It's just too much.
But that's the heart of the story, though. It would be a
completely
different story.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I mean, you would take out a lot of characters.
You would, but I mean, you just put in those characters in that universe. You know, like the heart of that story is Miles and his parents, his father specifically, and that's still there. That's what's important about it. And Miles, in that movie, the way that he's drawn, illustrated, the way that he's performed, it's magnetic to me. Like I was attached to him instantly.
Yes.
So that I think is the biggest fallback of that movie is that I didn't want Peter Parker in it.
I liked him.
I did too.
He has his own thing going on.
But I felt like it was more distracting from what I wanted to watch.
Well, because this is not Spider-Man. This is Spider-Verse. This is not Miles Morales. This is Spider-Verse. He just happens to be the linchpin universe or whatever. Yeah,
because he was the character they really wanted to introduce and drive home in that. You know what I mean?
And then introducing Kingpin with his wife and kid. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure that's interesting, but that's not the point of that movie.
No, but would you say is
the point of that movie was to expose a wider audience to Miles Morales?
It's not just Miles Morales though, because Spider-Gwen also.
I would say
she's pushed off.
So, yeah, but I would say that that's probably the second hand washed.
Okay.
You know, these are two characters that we think have great potential in pop culture to be super popular and merchandisable, for lack of a better term.
Spider-Gwen is, because there's a lot of merchandise with
100%.
And people like her.
100%, but I think they were trying to broaden the scope for her as well, introduce her to a wider audience.
And I think that works.
I think it does, too.
After the movie, I definitely see more stuff about her.
But I think Spider-Gwen fits in that universe.
Yes.
She doesn't need to be from somewhere correct.
Else. Right. Do you see the thing about families of powers is that sometimes I feel like it's too much. It's a balance because like you want more of the thing, but sometimes it's too much. Like the Bat family is too fucking big for me.
It has gotten too big.
Batgirl, Batwoman.
Okay, so where do we put the cap on the Bat family? Let's talk about that.
I don't know.
Oh, all right, so Batman's good, right?
Yeah,
gotta have him.
Robin's good.
Well, allow me.
Okay, go ahead.
Alfred.
Definitely. Must have.
Nightwing.
I can do without.
No, must have.
It's because I'm an outsider looking in. So like, this is an interesting conversation because you're all
yeah. That's why let's get into it.
Nightwing is cool, and he seems very popular. Character design looks good, but I don't have any connection with him. He's not. I don't think he's that popular in Gen Pop, right?
No, not in Gen Pop, because most people don't even understand that he's a thing.
He's Robin grown up to be something else.
Most people think there's only been one Robin. Do you know what I mean? Like Gen Pop.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't, because I'm more in than that.
Yeah, most like the normies I work with, when I'm like, well, there's 3 Robins, but actually now there's like a 4th Robin, and if you want to get technical, there's like 6 or 7 of them, and you know what I mean? Like, and people,
too much.
People are blown away, but all those Robins exist in some sort of continuity where they're not all coexisting at the same time.
Right.
So I'm good with that. But Nightwing, what's important about Nightwing is it's the one thing Bruce hasn't fucked up.
Mm.
It's the one thing he's done right. You know, and
he should have quit while he was
ahead. maybe, and like so, their relationship is fascinating to me.
Didn't he take up the Batman mantle at some point?
Yeah. When Bruce got zapped through time with Omega beams or whatever.
Yeah, but then they were both
fucking Grant Morrison, dude. Don't get me fucking started on that guy, man.
Love him or hate him?
I used to love him.
Yeah.
I just think he's lost his fucking mind now, and I think that like there is this level of like convolution where like it's no longer fun, and I think Endgame teases it dances around that. I think that Into the Spider-Verse doesn't, but I think it'd be more fun if it just stayed the fuck away from it. Like, and I think that in particular, my beats travel like a vortex through your spine, through the top of your cerebral cortex. But aside from that, dude, his voice was crazy, by the way, RZA. In particular. Aside from that, I think that if Grant Morrison touches something now, nothing can be what it is anymore. This can't be a vitamin water. It's a vitamin water stuck between dimensions and portals with blood of a zombie that's mixed with the ion of a god, of a demigod that was the bastard son of a Nova that, you know, like it's just, it's too much. Yeah. We're like, you know, like there's a song called Calhoun Square by Prince.
Okay.
And it was like a B-side. It was on Crystal Ball. It never like hit. It should have because it's banging. But the song opens up with him talking to his band. And obviously he composed all the music. He's just getting them to perform it, right? And he's like, listening to the drummer should be fun. It shouldn't be work. And that's how I feel about a lot of that sort of stuff. Is like reading comics, it's okay to go into depth. It's okay to touch on things, but it should still be fun. It should never feel like work.
Like you have to like research.
Yeah, like let me get a piece of paper and a pen out and draw the connections between this stuff. Like, and to be fair, I'm sure there's a audience that fits, but it's not me at all. And
most people.
I'm instantly turned off by it.
Do you think he's really like that, like creative? Like in his head, it's just like he's like that, or he just got too in on himself, like just smelling his own farts.
I think he probably thinks he's, and maybe he is, to be fair, but I think he probably thinks he's pretty deep.
Okay.
You know, but I think a lot of the people that get super deep find a way to do it without making it hyper convoluted. It's finding, the trick is finding that little rabbit hole, right? Like that little Stargate. You know, Stargate, that the pyramids are here because of these people. Boom.
Yeah.
The world instantly goes from this small to this big instantly with a small piece of information. There's a lot of people that have done that. Fucking Alan Moore, in his infinite beard of wisdom, has done it multiple times. There in Wildcats, Wild Covert Action Teams. I'm sure you're familiar.
Wow, really?
Wildcats, they got invisible powers. So
invisible powers is wild.
It's trash. But so like that's like this Autobot Decepticon thing, right? It's the Cherubim and the Daemonites, right? And on Earth, all this blood has been shed and characters have been lost and blah, blah, blah for this war that spanned over universe and star systems and generations and blah, blah, blah. And they finally make their way back to Cherubim when Alan Moore gets a hold of it, and the war's been over for thousands of years and these motherfuckers have been fighting for nothing. And that's finding that little loophole that nobody's considered that makes something much more fascinating, makes you have like the, oh, shit.
Yes.
You know? And they didn't do it with 18 different dimensions and multiverses and mirror systems and here's the evil you and blah, 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 blah.
It's like economy of words in story form. Like not having all those extra words in a piece of writing that just drags it down.
Yeah, just the uppercut.
I think it's like just
not death by 1,000 cuts.
Just one.
Just
Mortal Kombat.
One uppercut. One Shoryuken.
Yes. I guess it's kind of like for most people. I think that doesn't like the series. It's like Matrix 1 versus Matrix 2. 1 is like it gives you an information and it's interesting, and 2 just got 2 in his own ass.
Yeah.
But back to the naming of the Batman.
Okay, so we have
Nightwing. I like him, but I don't.
So you're out on.
I take him or leave him. I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm saying I could take him or leave him.
Okay, so we have Batman and Alfred that we both agree on.
Mm-hmm.
Nightwing is in this.
Let's go through the Robins.
Okay, so
in the current form.
Okay, so there's only 2.
Red Robin? It's not one thing?
No, that's like a few. Oh, maybe because Tim Drake. No, Tim Drake became Red Robin, so that's the 2.
Yeah.
So it's still just 2.
Red Hood.
He's not a Robin. He's Red Hood. But I'm going to go into him too.
Yeah,
okay, so Red Robin.
I know nothing about him other than that he exists.
Okay.
Get rid of him.
Okay, so I want him as well. So I'll put him over here.
I feel like you want everything.
No, because we're getting there.
All right.
So Damian Robin.
I know of him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a current. He's actually Robin.
He's Robin right now.
I would like a current Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
So I don't want him. So you and I
It doesn't have to be him though.
Okay, so you just want a Robin. So I'll make it 3 for the shit we agree on. But I like Tim Drake better than I don't like Damian,
which is fine.
But I think you're not supposed to. I think that's like. You know, like when you're you never watch Game of Thrones, but Joffrey, you've heard this name,
yeah,
like people fucking hate him. People fucking hate this kid. Like they just want to see terrible things happen to him, probably in real life. Is how much they hate him. But all that means is that he's doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same.
Eliciting emotion from you.
I think it's the same thing with Damian. I don't think he's supposed to be a really likable character. I think they've tried to make him a little bit more endearing over the years, but initially, like the jarring nature of him, it was like like I was like, man, you don't speak to your father that way. Is how I feel.
You erased that. Yeah. So let me ask you this: do you have to have a Robin in a Batman story?
I think I do.
Because I don't.
I don't need it in every story. I just need it in the world.
Like animated series, like Robin sometimes there, sometimes he's not.
Correct. Yes. I
like a splash of Robin.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Okay.
I like a splash of Robin.
Like he's a homework to do. He just can't come out all the time.
Correct. He's got shit. Yeah. I'm with you. there. So all right. So we both agree on 3 things so far, and then where we disagree is really, honestly, it's just Nightwing so far. Okay. So Batgirl.
Take her or leave her.
So I want her, but I only want her as Oracle.
Yes, so it's not Batgirl though.
Okay, so
you want Barbara.
Yeah, I want Barbara.
Okay.
You're in.
I'm in.
Okay, so we got 4.
Because it makes it not a quote unquote for me Bat family. They're not in a kit and cowl.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, Barbara, and yes, I like her character.
Okay.
I don't know a lot. I know enough to know she exists and what she does.
All right. Gordon.
Oh, have to.
Okay, so we both agree. So we're 5 deep in the Bat family so far. So okay, cool. Lucius.
I liked him in the movie.
See,
I don't know him in the comics at all.
I'll take him or leave him also.
Is he Morgan Freeman?
But I think that
makes a big difference.
He's Morgan Freeman-esque. I'll take him or leave him also, but I do think the book is better with him than without him.
Okay. I'll let your judgment for that.
Okay, but I'll still ride with the 5 mandatory.
Yeah, mandatory. I don't think he's mandatory for me anyway.
I don't think he's mandatory either. Okay, so Red Hood.
Interesting, but it's interesting because so I'll say I don't know. I don't need him in the Bat family.
Me neither.
He can just be his fucking thing.
And I'd prefer him be a villain.
Exactly, just him and his thing. Robin went wrong, or
so
Batman's fuck up is gonna remind him forever that he fucked up.
Okay, so we both agree there.
Yeah.
All right, Batwoman.
I don't care.
I've only read a few books with her in it, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I have read books with her in it, and she's never done anything for me other than super cool character design.
Yeah. Look, Krista and some of my female friends really like her, so
yeah,
I know that much.
I wonder what it is about her though. That they get from her that they don't necessarily get from the other characters that kind of hang around, the Montoyas or the Batgirls or the Oracles or this whatever.
I don't know, because we're like it's a thing, right? That we can try to put our foot in people's shoes, but it can only go so far. Mm-hmm. We'll never be able to see things from their point of view.
Okay.
So it's something maybe us as men or as whatever it is don't get anything, don't need her where they do.
But you think it's correlated to sex?
I think so.
Really?
Because, like I said, Krista, our friends who are females, love her. Yes.
So
especially our spy/lesbian friends.
Okay, so now the sexuality thing I can understand more.
Like,
because I feel like there's great female characters, like
in the Bat family.
Correct. So you take Damien, right? Great character, but I don't need him. You know, regardless of the fact that we're both men.
But you have all these other men.
Correct, but
you can relate to.
In variable ways, you know, like more so than Damien, perhaps. You know, so that's true. But it's not like there's any shortage of female characters in the Batverse. You know, like we have.
But the same people who love my friends, my acquaintances who love Batwoman, are the same people who love Catwoman.
Well,
but all of them don't care about Batgirl or Oracle that much.
See, so that's what I find more interesting. Is like, it's not necessarily the sex element of it, but what is it about this character that is connecting with you more than this character?
Right.
Where I'm connecting more to this character than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what are the alluring aspects or endearing aspects or fascinating aspects about Batwoman? And they might be out there. There is some interesting stuff with her father. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool, but I don't know if there was enough meat on that bone for me.
I think maybe also, as we speak, there's maybe a limited amount of females to attach to, so she's one of the easier ones to... Like, how many men we just named?
Okay, so we've only named 5 that we need, right? So let's go with let's break down just females then for a minute. Okay, so Catwoman, 1,000%.
Yes.
1,000%. Maybe more necessary than half of them on this other hand.
Yes.
Okay. So, and we already agree on Oracle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2. Then we have, spoiler, I don't need her. I'll be honest, I don't need her.
Who?
Spoiler, she was a Robin at one point, and yeah. So she's
I don't even know at all.
Okay, so she's part of the Bat family. She's kind of like a young kid, wants to do gooder. There's some cool stuff about her in that sense, where it's like this young girl wants to take on the world and be a part of the solution and not part of the problem, and blah blah blah. But like when she died, it was she died in old continuity. It was one of the most satisfying things for me ever.
I mean,
Black Mask killed her, and then Joker killed Black Mask and said he did it because you took my favorite job from me, killing Robins.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, it speaks volumes that like I'm not a huge DC or Batman fan, but like I should know the name. If I never heard of it, I think it speaks volume of who this person is.
Yeah, but I would say she's more obscure than.
Okay.
I would say she's probably even more obscure than Batwoman nowadays, just because Batwoman has this cult following.
She's on TV now, too.
Yeah, for sure. Huntress.
Oh, yeah.
Love her.
Cool characters. I don't know enough about her.
I don't need her on the team. Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know she was part of the Bat family. I just thought she was a DC person.
Well, like it's Birds of Prey. She has some connections to the Bat family because she's like the daughter of a Gotham mob boss.
It's too much for me.
See, I'm okay with that. I don't think she's a mandatory member, but I think she's fucking super cool. Super cool character.
So when everyone's in a secret club, it's not a secret club anymore.
No, I agree with that, but I'm not saying I need her as the Bat family.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like...
You like her?
I'm kind of having 2 conversations. There's the mandatory conversation, and then there's the women that are connected to this universe, and in particular, this Batverse, that are options in contrast to someone saying there's not enough female characters, perhaps, to relate to.
In the Bat family, specifically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there was the other Batgirl, and I think she might have gone by Batwoman. She was Asian. Cassandra Cain.
Oh, Cassandra Cain. Yeah, she had the
all black face
yellow.
too.
Yeah, she was real cool design. I know nothing about her.
So I think she's a cool character, cool story. Don't feel like she's a mandatory, but super cool female character in that universe.
When she was around more, people, like my friends liked her, but like she kind of fell out of.
Yes, she was really big during the. She was like a major player in the No Man's Land.
So is she still around?
Books, I believe so. I don't really keep up. Because.
Does it count then? I'm talking about
only because I can't say for sure. If she's not around, then no, she doesn't count. But if she is still around, then I would guess she counts.
I mean, around in the sense that people care. There's a billion characters, but like if no one cares about you, do you really count for anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we're talking about attachments and people to pick to attach to.
I don't know enough to have a valid answer on it, and that's not to confirm or deny either.
We don't know.
Right.
This is a question thrown out there.
Correct.
I'm sure there's somebody yelling at the screen right now.
Yeah, probably. Montoya.
I have no idea who that is.
You know who that is. That's the female cop. She was in the cartoon series and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Okay. Is she part of the Bat family?
No. So this isn't necessarily a Bat family.
Okay.
This is more the female character.
In their universe.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think she's super. Like I want her in that universe. I want all those female characters in that universe,
Mm-hmm.
except for maybe spoiler. I don't need spoiler. But I think like I love the dynamic of her in Bullet. You know.
But she's a B character, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, if Batman.
I mean, we're counting. I'm not saying she doesn't count, but I'm saying like she's.
Right. She's further removed.
Yeah. She's not hero of the day most of the time.
No. She has her moments here and there, but so that would be, I guess that would be probably it for the female characters. But I mean that's a good amount of female characters.
Right.
You know,
but half of them weren't really Bat family, and in Bat universe, not quite Bat family.
Yeah, but it's like extended. It's like cousins. It's like extended family. You know what I mean? Like Huntress is definitely extended family.
Okay.
But like, all right. So if we were to look at that, Oracle, Batwoman, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, who I think is Batwoman also, but I'm not sure. Spoiler, Huntress, Catwoman, Montoya.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's 7 female characters directly tied to the kind of linchpin character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if can you name 7 female characters tied to another linchpin male character? Because see, I would say Batman is ahead of the curve in that regard.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I'm not saying there isn't enough female characters in general. I mean, like, and it's not.
Huntress.
Yeah,
it's 8.
It's not my fight. Or
No.
I'm
just for the sake of conversation. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that like, if the kind of thing on the table is, well, maybe there's not enough female characters to connect with, and therefore Batwoman becomes one to connect with, and I'm saying, well, there's 8 characters on this that connect with, and I'm not sure what's so, aside from the sexuality, which if that's the case, then I get it, signed off.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from the sexuality, I'm not sure what is so unique about Batwoman in comparison to those other 8 characters.
A-lister, you have your own book. Are you big enough to have your own book? Nightwing is. Red Robin is.
Is he? I don't even know.
I don't know. But like, I mean, I'm saying like Batman is.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have 8 female characters, but like how many A-listers do we have? 4, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean it depends if you count Birds of Prey as its own book, and then 4 of those. So like Black Canary's tied to that too.
Yeah, because like we're talking about on 200, it's like who wants to be Iceman? Like in your world,
everybody's hitting me now. The Iceman.
I love Iceman.
The Iceman Brigade has assembled. They're out, and they don't have tiki torches. They have ice picks.
That's more dangerous.
Everybody's letting me know how much they have Iceman.
Dude, I did love Iceman as a child. I drew him a lot.
Look, I liked Iceman too. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying he's an A-lister, but like he's not a throwaway character.
But I never said he was a throwaway character. I just said he was
trash.
Yeah, but I think that's just me. I think that's just me being extreme under like no, I'm gonna win this conversation.
But that's why all these people are fighting you.
Yeah, probably. But like what I'm saying is that like I think of the let's finish this fucking bad shit and then we get to Iceman.
Yes.
So you and I basically agree that the mandatory run is and then we got Batwing now too, who's Lucius's son, and I don't know enough about him. So obviously I can yeah. No, I agree. So, but I think you need Batman, Nightwing, a Robin, and I prefer it be Tim Drake, Catwoman, Gordon, Alfred.
So there's a lot of extra Bats people that don't need to be.
Yeah, it's like another.
Don't even mention Batman Inc. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Every country had their own corporate Batman.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was Grant Morrison.
They had the Asian Batman and the.
That was the worst one.
It was the worst one.
No,
it was not good.
I don't even remember.
I was like, they have an Asian Batman? Let me take a look. I was like,
even though everybody says that anime one is trash, I still want to see it. That's an anime I want to watch. Bring that anime over.
No, I watched it.
Did you? Okay, good.
Night Stalk? I don't remember. There was. I don't remember the name. I think it was a Middle Eastern one with a gray suit, and I liked his character design. I liked cosplay him. He was cool, but he's gone with the rest of them.
So we both agree that there's like 6 characters, but I mean, is 6 too much for a bat family? when like we all kind of feel like they're important to have around.
So 6 is not too much. I guess 6 is a cutoff. Maybe.
6 is the cutoff. 7, 5 not enough.
Kill one of the other ones.
5 not enough. 7 too many.
It's one city, man.
I mean, it's a big ass city though. It's New York, right? I mean,
don't you have other people running around there?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can fall deep down that rabbit hole and say like, what good are the other ones if you have the Bat Family? And then the counter argument to that is what good is the Bat Family when you have Batman?
he's only one guy. He can't be everywhere at once, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's how they play to him. It's what they provide for him. It's kind of like that dynamic between Superman and Batman. It's what they provide to one another character-wise that makes both of them more intricate as characters.
It's synergy.
Yeah. So back to the X-Men. Iceman. So my thing is that like, look, I don't think he's a trash character. I know I said he was trash, but that was just me like saying, okay, I'm going to draw a hard line. but I've just never ever in my life. I feel like without knowing anything about his sexuality, without knowing anything about that, if Marvel came to me, and I'm nobody, why would they come to me?
Right.
But if Marvel came to me and was like, look, we're getting ready to launch an X character with his own book, and here's a list of 5, Iceman is going to be pretty far down my list, and I would be surprised if he was even on the list.
Top 5?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to play this game?
I'm not trying to play. I'm trying to think 2 of the top 5. Wolverine
is number 1.
Yeah.
Wolverine is number 1.
And everyone has different favorites. So this is a subjective list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is your...
So, now, are we trying to be objective, or are we being subjective?
Trying to be objective.
Okay, if we're trying to be objective, then are we considering Deadpool part of that?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Trying to be objective.
Are we considering Cable?
No.
Why?
Part of X-Men?
See, to me, X-Force is part of X-Men. When you got the X-Men cards, X-Force was in there.
Well, is Excalibur X-Men in there, motherfucker?
Yeah. To me, it's all part of that.
Really?
To me, it's all part of the same.
They were the B and C team.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. But they're all part of it.
Yeah. Did we count that?
Because, is Nightcrawler an X-Men?
Yeah.
He's a part of them.
He's a part of both.
So that's how you see that? See, I see Excalibur as being a team part of X-Men.
Oh, okay. I just think how Wolverine's on the Avengers and the X-Men, but it's not the same team.
Oh, I don't see it that way. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they're the same team.
Because they didn't have any Avengers cards in that. I think that... Especially
with a new X-Force, like my favorite X-Force, the Rick Remender X-Force, it's like they were a secret thing no one's supposed to fucking know.
All right, well, let's play it both ways. If it is that expansive, Wolverine, I put Cable on that list.
I would do Cable and Deadpool. They were great.
I'd put Deadpool on that list. I'd put...
you're hitting me hard because you know why.
and I'm just trying to be objective. I know that the fan base for those characters is huge.
Yes.
Okay? So... Now is when I start struggling more with the subjectivity, because to me those are the top 3 objectively. Yeah, but see, for me the next one I want to say is Scott and Jean book.
See, now you're doing doubles.
Right, but it does get more complicated. But like I think that
I don't care about Scott and Jean.
I don't either. I'm trying to be objective.
Not anymore.
But I'm trying to be objective.
Do people still care? Jean's not around anymore. Jean's been dead.
Who knows who the fuck's around anymore? These fucking...
They brought her different Jean from a different universe, right?
X-23.
She's X-Men, right? Yeah, she took Wolverine's place at some point. Mm-hmm. She should get her own book, you think?
You think before or after Iceman? Objectively.
Popularity-wise or interesting character-wise?
I'm saying you're running... That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is that, like...
But another Wolverine, you can have 5 different Wolverine books.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that's what I want.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that that's...
Makes sense. Oh yeah, right. As your executive, you're trying to sell shit.
Correct. I'm counting on the success of a book that I'm going to invest money in. Mm-hmm. Iceman is not on that list. And guess what?
Is he not at all, really?
He wasn't on a lot of people's list because the book didn't sell.
I don't need a Bishop book. I don't need an Archangel book. I don't need a...
I definitely 100% want an Archangel book. But I see that he's one of my favorite X-Men characters because I think he's actually the most... I think he is the most interesting character on that team.
He's interesting in regards of being in a team, his interactions and the relationship with other people. Him on his own.
See, that's how I feel about Iceman.
I can see that.
And like I think that one of the beauty of the X-Men is that most of them are more interesting because of their interactions with the rest of the team.
But that's why X-Men is the team is popular, right? Because they're
correct. Like Psylocke, super cool character,
Mm-hmm.
but I enjoy her more with the rest of the team than I do individually.
I think that's why. I would think you would have liked X-Force, Uncanny X-Force a lot too, because it's the top people. You got Deadpool, Psylocke,
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine, Archangel.
I did.
And Phantom X.
I did love it.
And which I like Phantom X a lot.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I would be more interested in his book.
Right. To be fair, yes, he's a super interesting character.
Agreed. So I don't know. I just feel like I guess what I'm saying is, and like I said, I can't make any sort of determination without seeing the numbers, right?
What numbers don't lie.
Is a stream. But, like, I can't.
Someone hit us up with it. Like, is 0.08 cents or some shit
For Netflix?
I don't remember.
I think it was for music.
Yeah.
See, music is starting to become a little bit more transparent, but what's starting also to come out about music is not everybody's getting paid the same.
Which makes sense. No
it
one
does.
gets paid the same for
it does. But then let's let that be known.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
don't act like stream for stream is
correct.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that I forget where I was going with that, but
Bobby's a B character.
Bobby has no personality. Somebody looped that. I think that if you were to, if without seeing the numbers,
mm-hmm.
if I had two options to choose, and one was this book was canceled because it was a gay character doing gay things by a gay writer, mm-hmm. which is what the writer is claiming,
which, by the way, I don't think it's true.
Or
yeah.
The book just didn't sell because it either A, wasn't that good, the character's doesn't have that kind of following, mm-hmm. or B, maybe it wasn't marketed right, maybe it wasn't rolled out right, whatever the case may be. I'm going with that option over the gay option.
I personally think, predicate on my ass.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
Right, but that's where that whole conversation comes from.
Yeah, because all the companies that Pride Months, everyone has rainbow for the it's a selling point.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more of a marketing hook than it is a deterrent.
Yeah, I think it got canceled because people aren't buying it.
That is an interesting conversation to have, and it may be too dangerous of one to have on this platform. It might be more appropriate to move over to the Patreon, but the idea of the general audience, what can the general audience digest in regard to quote unquote alternative lifestyles? Mm. What is digestible?
Because that's a cultural thing.
100%.
And we're talking about percentage of a culture.
100%, I agree. Like New York might take it differently than say Alabama, where some folks are from. But you know what I mean? Chris. So it's going to be weighted, obviously. Mm-hmm. But just generally, if we were to average those two numbers, where does that land? I think that's an interesting conversation to have because, obviously the world that we live in now, I can speak firsthand, is much more open and accepting of that sort of thing than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great, which is the right thing to be, right?
Yes.
But for the general audience, for trying to make something pop, mm-hmm. And I mean in the culture sense, right?
It's a queer and straight guys.
And Will and Grace, and
yes.
It's not like it can't happen,
mm-hmm.
but where is the line?
Yeah,
where is the line? Where does that fall off start? Like, if you have a gay couple in a book like this, mm-hmm. can it operate and kind of touch on all of the elements of like the general masses? And then if it can, is it when you see them kiss in a panel that you start losing audience? Is it when you see them in bed? Because we've seen men and women in bed in comics. Mm-hmm. Is it when you see that it becomes less palatable for general audience? Like, where's the line?
Yeah, it's a dangerous conversation, but we'll explore it somewhere where we can. But like, it also has to do with, I think, male versus female and female.
1,000%.
Because I think Top Gun has an ongoing female and like a couple.
Yeah, 1,000%.
That you see them in bed making out.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and probably nobody skips a beat.
Yeah.
And they probably, once again, dangerous conversation. But what characters are these?
I can't. I don't know off the top of my head.
I would be more.
I see them on my feed all the time.
I would be more willing to bet that when both, if we're playing to stereotypes. Mm-hmm. if both of the female characters that are lesbians in this book
Mhm.
stereotypically in regard to presentation and
Mhm.
aesthetics play to the stereotype of heterosexual women, I would imagine that that's probably easier to digest also.
What do you mean?
So let's say you have two women that look like Psylocke.
That basically, they're both conventionally attractive women.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Compared to one that's got really short hair and maybe, you know, a broader shoulders, because there's hormonal things, right?
Yeah, like that, the Overwatch character.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like, that would be another interesting thing to kind of explore within that conversation.
Yeah, because I think, going back to characters that are relatable, whether we subconsciously do it or not, we gravitate and like characters where we find more relatable. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I wish there were more Asian characters.
Yeah.
Personally. And
do you feel like do you feel like, let me ask you that. How big a deal is that for you in order to relate to a character, do you think?
How big? I don't know if that's the right...
Maybe I'm wording it poorly, but like baseline, you see a character step into a room in a book or in a movie or whatever, and they're Asian.
There is an automatic... You know, like when you see walk by a female,
mm-hmm.
automatically you judge her attractiveness subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
When
So you judge Asians.
When I see a character that's Asian in a media,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, I could be that. When I see mostly what we always see is like white male characters, I'm like, I can't be that. Especially because I cosplay, right? So maybe that's different. That plays into it too. I think, but it's like, I can't be that. I like that character a lot, but I can't be that because that's not me. I'll never be that.
Okay, so that makes sense in that regard, in the cosplay regard. But I also think that, like, I'm not sure. Oh, you know, I'm not sure how many people's characters are defined by their race that are not Asian.
No, but like,
think about that.
"Quote unquote" representation matters. Like, for you to be represented for something that you feel like can represent you. It doesn't matter. So like I was talking about, like, all talking about homosexual characters, that it's great for homosexual people to be able to have characters they can relate to, like Batwoman, and a majority of the population is okay, assuming they're not homophobes. They're okay with homosexuality.
I don't know if that's true.
I'm giving our culture the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily do that.
That a majority of the country is okay with homosexuality in general?
Yeah.
You think more than half of us aren't okay with...
I say I don't know. I don't know if I could say that with confidence. Like, now, if we're taking...
I'm being more optimistic than you for once.
Yeah, maybe. If we're talking numbers, then maybe because, like... You know, like,
yeah, numbers. Like,
yeah, okay, so if we're talking numbers and we look at the people that are most densely populated cities, we would imagine that, like, New York and Los Angeles would be more accepting, just if we're playing stereotypes, than, you know, West Virginia, or, you know...
But, like, LA has, like, a bigger population.
Right. But I guess if we were to...
How about we narrow it down to just people who are into comic books?
Okay, then yes, I would agree. Okay. I would agree with you.
So, just because you're perfectly accept homosexuality doesn't mean you can relate to homosexual characters. Therefore, you may not buy the book.
I agree.
So like, not that people don't like homosexual characters and therefore the book don't sell. It's just that there's just a less percentage of people can relate to.
No, I can understand that.
Especially if you're not hot female. Like,
well, you know it's like one of those interesting things that was about that Japanese intimacy thing that I looked at, where, like, the majority of these comics that are about gay men are purchased by
women,
by straight women.
Yaoi, yeah, it's huge. I mean, even in American culture, like, anime nerd chicks in America love yaoi.
Well,
in general,
I think, like, I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak in generalities based on my own experiences, right?
Yeah.
But in my own experiences, I feel like stories, whether it's literature or, you know, comic books, not to say that's not literature, but you know what I'm saying, or film, cinema, TV, whatever, I tend to find that women are more accepting and interested in male homosexual stories than men. I mean,
you can say that the way around too, right? We're more interested in homosexual women than males, maybe.
Wait, what?
Because you said, like, women are more accepting of homosexual males. And I was like, as males, we're
more accepting of homosexual women. Okay, yes, I would say that, but I think that maybe with women, the male and female is equal. Where with us, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And once again, blanket statement, not you know, based on nothing but my experience.
Just just what feels like.
I mean, I remember the Brokeback.
Yes.
You know, I remember people saying like, I'm not watching that. Like,
right.
You know, because I have no interest in watching that.
Yeah.
You know, like where I saw it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be honest with you, I had to feel super comfortable to say I didn't think it was that good.
Oh, because you didn't want it.
Because I didn't want people to think that I was disliking it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like,
exactly.
We're getting to the point where it's hard to criticize things because people automatically say, "Oh, it's because of this that you don't like it." It's like, no, objectively, this story is not told well, or cinematography, or whatever.
Right.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the too far other side argument.
I read
people like wonder why, because me too at first, wonder why women are interested in the gay anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dudes love lesbian porn, so like I mean,
yeah, but I don't think it's for the same reasons.
It's not the same reasons, but like why can we accept one thing and not the other? Why is it like, oh, it's normal for dudes to like to watch two chicks, but why is it not normal for chicks to want to watch two dudes?
Well, I don't think that chicks want to watch. I don't think it's the same. I don't think that they're getting the same fulfillment. I think that
because we want different things though in life.
I agree.
So it's giving them what they want, and lesbian porn is giving us what we want.
Yes, but those things aren't tied to sex. They're tied to intimacy.
Yes.
Right. So for men, it's more sex,
mm-hmm.
and for women, it's more about emotional connections in regard to the story. Correct.
Yeah. But that's definitely taking asses in gay anime.
Oh, I'm sure. And more power to them. Dude, live your best life.
Yeah, man.
So let's see what else. I read Sarah, which is the book that Chris was talking about. He let me borrow it. Remember I said there's a follow-up to it named Jenny. And
oh, yeah.
Garth Ennis wrote it. And he actually is not being critical of Americans this time. So, but it was good. It was really good. And it was one of those stories where now I've got this stigma, right? It's like where I'm like, I can't tell anybody how I feel about anything anymore because everybody's going to find a way to spin it where it's not based on my feelings about it.
Oh, yeah. Of course you don't like it because of this. Of course you like it because of that.
Correct. So, like just like the
Brokeback thing.
Yeah. Or like, you're not going to like Sarah because I liked it. Or, you're not going to like this book because I liked it or that book or that movie or this movie. But, so I'm reading it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about halfway through it. It's only 6 issues, so it's like a really...
Oh, 3 and 3 out.
So, yeah, 3 and 3 out. And I would have read it anyway. But I was reading it, and I was about halfway through it, and I was like, this isn't hitting for me.
Okay.
And I was like, God, I don't even want to talk about reading this. Because I don't want it to be like, oh, of course you don't like it. Because we love it. And, whatever the case may be. But I continued reading it. It's basically about it's an all-female... I don't know if it's based on any facts or it's just pure fiction. I don't know what the ins and outs of it are. But it's an all-female sniper crew.
Okay.
Russian sniper crew that were taking down these Nazis, right?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty good. And this one character in particular, the lead, is pretty fascinating. And the whole book... But the first book, I was like, all right, I like this world. I like these characters. I'm invested. And then it just kind of didn't go anywhere for me, really. And then I got to the 6th book, and the way it ended, I was like, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful ending to this story.
So you liked it?
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I liked it a lot, but it was one of those things where I didn't know how much I liked it until I got to the last page.
See, I sometimes I pin things on you, or like you won't like something. Like we joke around this, but it's not because I like it. Because I can't verbalize what it is, but I kind of get a feel of like this niche of things that you like. Like the pacing, the certain aesthetic. So like when I see something, whether I like it or not, I don't think Bobby would like that. Right. It's just people like different things.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not
pacing is a big thing with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I need it's a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
And I need the rhythm right.
And you need things kind of moving.
Yeah, and
fast.
It's funny because I would say that I like more and I know more about music than I do about movies. But I've had people say, like, that are super into movies, like, especially when I was in college, and you meet, like, the dickhead that's never going to be anything in Hollywood, but swears he's going to be. And I would have a conversation with him about movies, and, he would tell me how great this one was and this one was. And I'd be like, dude, I know I'm supposed to say it's great, but I don't think it's great.
Mm.
Like, I know you're supposed to say it, but I don't think it is. And here's what I think is great. And, and I've had guys in that position be like, are you a music guy? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, well, the reason why I think you might like this movie, like, I love being John Malkovich.
Uh-huh.
And it's like because that movie feels more like music than it does like movies. And, you know, and so I do think there is an element to rhythm and pacing that I am very much attached to.
Yeah.
I like
would never be able to relate that.
Boogie Nights. You know, feels like music to me. It doesn't feel like a movie. Social Network feels more like music to me than it does like a movie.
Yeah, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that just because I'm not intimate with music like that.
Mm.
But I mean, I can understand like what it means.
But and it's not like I'm being dreadfully serious when I'm like, people don't think my opinion. You know, I don't feel that way about it. But I do feel like because of the joke of it, it's something I have to be conscious of when I'm forming my opinions and making sure that they're valid. Right. You know, and then like
because then even if you joke around enough about something, you're gonna think about it.
Yeah. It's gonna affect how you approach something. So like it's just like Spider-Verse. To be fair, I kind of had the opposite reaction because I was like all in like early on, and then as like the alternate universe thing kind of started becoming more and more of the
focus,
the conflict element of the story, I was less interested in it. You know, and I was like, oh, God, here we go. I'm going to, you know, but I still thought it was probably the best Spider-Man movie ever made. I just don't think it has much competition either, to be fair. But
it has a lot of competition.
No, I mean, in terms of quantity. In terms of quality.
Yeah, I loved it. I was surprised. I surprisingly loved it more than I thought I was going to. I mean, it was animated and stuff. It's kind of in my bag.
Animation, by the way, is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. The actual animation, the movements of the Spider-Mans are great.
And like the coloring and the way it has like a comic book feel, and like it's even like the dot stuff is in some of it.
Yes, like the pen marks, the inking.
Yeah.
That's why like the crazy looking characters didn't throw me off, and that's what I was trying to say. Like you put Kingpin, that shaped Kingpin in the live action, yeah, it's crazy. But like in that universe, I thought it wasn't jarring for me. Also because I watched so much animated shit, and that's another thing for you. Like you've become. I don't know if you've become or have always been that way. That you're just not an animation guy anymore.
Yeah, generally. But I did like, the animation didn't bother me at all. Like, I was into the story, I was invested in the characters, like, where I feel like a lot of times with animation, especially more modern animation, I have a hard time connecting. But I connected to Miles straight away. I connected to his father straight away. I connected to his mother straight away. And the dynamics of their relationship, like, the character stuff in Spider-Verse, I think is beautifully done.
It's more realistic.
Maybe
anime more realistic. That again, going back to the relatable thing, like you have a hard time relating to animated stuff anymore because it just doesn't look real to you, so it doesn't feel real anymore.
But to circle back to that, like I don't think I ever hold race in regard to relating.
Not to downplay your point, but you're a white guy.
Yeah, and I know.
You know what I mean, I'm not trying to.
No, you and I have had this conversation before, so I know where you come from with that.
There's a lot of use.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. Aren't there more use? But like, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that I think you could make the same argument that because there are a lot of us in this country, that maybe I would feel more estranged from differences, more estranged from characters that were different from me because I'm more used to people that are like me. I think that's a more logical element. Argument.
That could be an argument, but I think for the other side is that you have so much stuff that like the little bit of stuff doesn't bother you.
Well, I think
like if you just randomly pick up a movie or a book in a store, like the odds of it being a white dude is pretty high. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think maybe it's because I think there are white people out there that definitely care about that sort of thing.
Yes,
you know, so like,
sure.
So like, I think that maybe it has less to do with that, and perhaps it has more to do with just how people view their race in regard to defining who they are.
And make clarify myself. I'm not saying there's too much stuff with white dudes in it.
I'm not saying you are.
I'm saying there's not enough stuff with the other people in it.
I don't know, but
name Asian male or Asian comic characters that are A-listers. You have to think about it.
Yeah.
Name a few black ones.
Luke Cage.
War Machine.
I don't know if War Machine's an A-lister, but Falcon. I don't know if Falcon's an A-lister.
Popular, that well-known. Gen Pop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Psylocke. You know?
And she's sometimes a white. At body.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean because she's thick?
Oh. I mean because she's Captain Britain's sister. And she's just in an Asian fucking body. I mean, I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily...
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The best representation.
Like,
but yes,
and I find myself
I'll give you that.
And I find myself being more critical. I think I find myself being more critical of white people than I do of other races.
What do you mean?
So, let me relate it to...
I wish Evan was here, too.
Yeah, I do, too. Let's relate it to commit, Evan. Just a tabletop conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be more critical of a white person at that table and what their intentions are regarding language sometimes than I will be of other races. Because I think socially, I've been made so aware of all of these possible intentions that I'm hyper tuned into it. You know? And then to play it on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? If you're a white rapper... you better be fucking nice. You know? Or like, you better be fucking nice. Like, because I'm super, I'll get you out of here immediately. Like, you know, and like, you know, just exploring the idea. If M didn't have bleach blonde hair and a weird looking face to me.
He's the looking white dude. What do you mean?
No, there's something going on with that nose. I can't put my finger on it. It's the same thing going on in that nose going on in that chin.
Okay.
He looks like my brother a little bit, honestly. But if he didn't look that way, I'm not sure I'd be as critical of him as I am. But there's something about him when I see him pop up like in a Robin suit and fucking bleach blonde hair that I'm like, you're fucking a fool. You're a fucking fool.
Mm.
Like, and I don't mean that in a positive way.
Right.
Like, you're a dickhead. You know? And I don't think I would necessarily do that. You know, if it was like a character like a Childish Gambino doing it.
What Asian did do it?
I don't know.
We don't have that many Asian rappers. Up you.
I don't know. I think it's the same thing. No, because I think it plays into the stereotypes of the culture. I think if it was an Asian dude doing kung fu, let's play stereotypes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be far more lenient than if it's a white dude doing kung fu.
Really?
Yeah, I think if it's a white, I'm like, oh, that dude's trash. He doesn't live this life. Whereas an Asian dude, I might be like, yeah, he probably's into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I probably look past it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that shit is fascinating.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because like we can't be in each other's shoes, but we can try.
Right.
We'll have these discussions.
What's up with your Nerd Week?
Oh, well, I'll skip the anime till Adam and Chris is here. Watched Ant-Man 2. Watched both Ant-Mans because we were in a plane. And
okay.
We were in a plane, and then Chris was like, "There's nothing else to watch. Let's watch Ant-Man."
You thought they were both fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, the coolest part of Ant-Man 2 now is because I watched Infinity and Endgame first, and then going back and see the ending scene. So, okay, that's what that is. The Ninja Batman. So I thought it was a whole completely alternate universe thing.
It's not.
It's not. And I thought I was gonna hate it. Just a little bit hate it.
Okay.
But like, there are some interesting dynamics in there. Because it is, I guess, our Batman, regular Batman, and a few people from Gotham City, they got transported to ancient Japan.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, like, Joker kind of fooled a bunch of people and got in charge of some shit. I don't want to spoil it in case you want to watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it. Is Catwoman in it?
Catwoman's in it. I don't want to spoil too much. There's other stuff. There's other people in it, too.
Does she look like that Figma character? That Figma toy?
I think so.
I might have to get that shit.
Hey, watch it just so you're not phony. Robin's fucking look is terrible. Like, a lot of the other people look fine. Like, Robin's haircut is fucking awful. Okay. I don't know why they made him look like that. Everyone else look kind of is cool. Like, there's one part towards the end that you're gonna hate, I think, because there's a bunch of giant robots. And for me personally, also, there's no reason for it other than because it's anime.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty interesting. Because I don't want to spoil it. But okay, once you get transported to ancient land somewhere, all your technology doesn't work anymore.
In this universe, or you're saying
in general?
Or how? Explain that to me.
If your phone runs out of battery, how are you going to charge it? If your car runs out of gas, how are you going to?
Okay. Yes.
So
okay.
you have to deal with that as Batman.
Sure.
So that's interesting, and there's some interesting character dynamics.
Oh, and it happens. It has the real consequences. They don't brush it under the rug. Right? Okay. Cool.
And because there's other characters from Gotham there too. There's some interesting interactions. I'll say you probably enjoy 50% of it and hate 50% of it. So it's on you to whether you want to watch it or not. I'm not going to give you a recommend, but I'm not also not.
No, I want to watch it. I want to watch it because I'm forgiving of that character. I think.
But are you though, or are you going to extra hate it because they trashed your character?
Maybe, but I think there's something fucking, dude. I think there's something fucking primal about Batman, where it just it's just hard for it not to work. I think they just tapped into something that's it's in our fucking DNA. Now,
not the original Batman. What he's evolved into.
Yeah.
Batman stayed the blue and gray, original detective Batman with guns and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I think that there's there's elements about it that are malleable to the time, but that whatever is at the base DNA of it,
guy in
a bat suit with that specific background. There's something about that just it's just in us to like it for some reason. I think it's just a hard even people that are that get all up in arms about Marvel being so much infinitely more everything than DC.
I don't think that's true.
But,
personally,
right? But people that are that way, they'll still be except for Batman. There's just
Yeah,
something
it's
about
about
it. You know what I mean? It's just something. It's something. I think it's just
Batman's always
the same reason why we like fire when it's cold. It's just something you know what I mean?
I feel like Batman's his own thing. I don't think people can even consider him DC. He is a DC character, but no one talks about Batman like he's part of DC necessarily. He's it's Batman.
I think it's only Marvel people that talk that way. I think the other people.
General population sees Batman as
yes,
Batman.
yes. That I would agree with.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily relate to DC. So try that. Oh, dude, I had a haunted experience.
All right, talk to me.
So I work in a hospital, right? Some of the time. And so I went to use this bathroom that I've never used because all the regular ones are taken. I hate taking a dump next to the other people taking a dump.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to this.
Now, wait. No, you're not. We're not going to let that ride. So you're okay if it's somebody at the urinal?
Yeah.
Why? I understand the need for the need for privacy, but I don't understand
that because
it can't be because your privacy is dependent upon the action.
Because back in military school, we would take dumps in the next stall and chat at the same time with people, and that's just normal.
That's fucking strange, dude.
You haven't been to military boarding school.
That's a fact. I got dangerously close.
But it's just I don't know, strangers grunting and dumping next to me is just I don't like it.
Well, no, okay. I feel like we're
here to plop?
Yeah, no. We're not vibrating on the right frequency. You don't have to explain to me why you don't like sitting next to a dude taking a shit.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
What you have to explain to me is why you don't like taking a shit next to a dude, but you don't mind taking a shit next to a dude taking a piss. That's what you have to explain.
Because they're in and out.
So it's about the duration of time.
It's part of it. It's like the awkward silence, in a waiting room. Depends on how long it is.
It is weird. Dude, we all know we're here pooping and nobody wants to talk. It's like when you're at the porno store.
Oh yeah, no one looks up.
Dude, nobody makes eye contact. Nobody talks. Come, give me a recommend. You seen this one?
And there should be no shame there. You're all there for the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
The guy next to you is also working that porn.
I told Adam I had this idea for a series I wanted to do where we just went around to porno stores and try to strike up conversations. Sometimes about the material, you know what I mean, and then sometimes just about what brings you in today, man? Rough week, just to see how fucking weird it could get.
I mean, especially nowadays, it's different crowd. It still goes to porno store than 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's got to be a fucked up crowd.
They still exist.
Oh, I'm sure.
The one in Wheaton where the toy exchange used to be is still there. I drive by it all the time.
Wait. Oh, really? Down there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right next to PODBAN Comics.
Because the ones in the one there used to be one on the boulevard up by the flea market. That's gone.
Yes.
and I think there's one down at the other end, two down at the other end of the boulevard now. And then the one that's up in Ellicott City on 40, that's still there.
Oh,
It's
shit.
like the Pack Shack or some shit. Like, it's got a fucked up name. That's still there. But yeah, like, I just, the person, because I feel like you used to go in there and there would always be people in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't
There's
imagine.
always one or two other dudes.
Yeah, I can't imagine that that's the case anymore. But if it is the case, that clientele's wild as fuck.
Yeah, who the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, who
I'm gonna start going again, I think.
Just
After
for funsies?
Yeah, after this conversation, I think I'm gonna get back into it. Get back into the swing of things. Make sure. see how the cultures evolve.
And the conversation you can have with those people, it could be wild.
Dude.
They probably willing to talk.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's just fucking get into it. You know, let's like if this isn't a safe space, what is? Those are kind of my thoughts.
So I was taking it down, and then I heard like heavy breathing and some pooping noises. I was like, fuck, man. I came all the way up here, away from a regular bathroom, to get some fucking alone poop time. And this fucking motherfucker's pooping next to me. And then I finished, and I went to wash my hands, and I looked in the mirror. All the stalls are open. There was nobody in any stalls.
All right, that's strange.
I got the fuck out real quick.
Yeah,
Like
that's strange.
that was. I mean, when I heard the pooping, I didn't like.
Dude,
look.
you really got a phantom pooper on your.
I chose not thinking about it. That shit creeped me the fuck out.
That shit.
Maybe it should have clued me in that it didn't smell any different than just my own poop.
Yeah.
Because I didn't bend down to look at the feet at next door. Like, who the fuck is pooping next to me wearing whatever shoes?
Yeah.
But that was yeah, fucked up.
So you know, I'm
never
funny.
going to the bathroom again.
I'm funny about that stuff though. Like that ghost would never get me because I never poop in public places.
Except for that one time in Exxon, or
Yeah, that was on the way back. That was on the way back from the beach the week I shot to bed.
or you had to go.
That was the same. I already knew it was dangerous. It was a game. Everything was a gamble at that point.
Man, that was a bad weekend for you, man. Let's see, and that's basically it. I had more stuff from Japan and talk about, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Just pricing and I want to say Kotobukiya, because remember we had talked about second edition stuff, dropping prices of secondary market stuff sometimes. I think Koto does a good job of doing that because they've been releasing a lot of the DC Bishojos.
Oh, really?
But they're slightly different color.
Hmm.
So it does not diminish the value of the original. Like their Raven was more purple, and now it's more blue. So it's distinctly different color, and the Starfire is the same. The colors noticeably different, but they're still the character's color.
Right.
It still looks fine.
Right. It's just a different hue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to do things.
Yeah. No, I'm with that. We also, before we came down here to do this, we had a look at the Imaginarium Art Optimus Prime statue.
Oh yeah, that was sweaty.
Yeah, we did it outside. We did it in the garage because I just didn't know where to film it.
It's fucking nerve-wracking, man.
Yeah.
Especially since neither one of ours.
Yeah. Super stressful. But we have a review to follow coming soon, and
put it on your Bobby.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like it's perfect, and yet it's not quite right.
Yeah.
And
it could be more.
Yeah, and I'll have like we didn't do a like kind of first impressions for Patreon, but I will do an additional thoughts for Patreon because I have some more stuff I want to say, kind of uncut about it. That's a weird experience.
Yeah,
that's a weird. That was a weird experience.
That was the first time for me to get that specific feel because I have real statues, not real. I have official statues and I have a couple third-party ones like the Deadpool we have upstairs. That's you picked it up before, right?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So.
I wish you would have said that because I thought you were talking about like third party.
Oh no, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I wish that makes much more sense. I thought you were speaking very like figuratively.
Oh no,
I got you. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
And lastly, I just wanted to revisit Mortal Engines one more time. The movie.
Gears of the City.
Motherfucker. It has a really 40K feel. I forgot to mention that.
I can see that.
Because you have giant robots with cities on your back. Why is that not ridiculous compared to a city on fucking tracks, motherfucker?
Yeah, on the Titans and shit.
Yeah. And also, I want to defend. I mean, we talked about it already, and you agree with me, like, of why I like things. The world is interesting, even if the story sucks. It captivates me because I think I haven't used this term in a long time, but I think we forget about it. It captures the imagination. It makes me
okay.
It I don't know how else to explain it. Like, even if the story doesn't interest me, watching the world like captures an imagination.
Yeah. No, I'll ride with that. I'll ride with that.
Yeah. And that's it for me.
Other
than anime stuff, I want to talk to other people about.
So we only have a couple notes. So we're gonna fly through this. Then we got a couple questions. But actually, I think just one question.
Yeah, we missed them on 200.
Yeah, I fucked that up. I'm so sorry, Mike. But we did get a question on Patreon a while back as to why I have some frustrations with my channel, and I thought this might be a good time because I don't like talking when it's just like you and me one-on-one. It seems like a good time to talk about it, but it's like 4 people in here. Like, I don't want to talk about my channel. You know what I mean? I don't want to spend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's more private conversation.
Yeah. So, do you think we should do that before or after the notes? Maybe after.
Yeah.
After the notes.
Yeah.
So only 2 notes. One is bright light. There's a Gremlins animated series coming to a streaming network near you.
How are you feeling? What are you feeling on that?
I'm open to it. Okay. I like Gremlins as a franchise. Like, it's
you
one
don't
of those
toys though.
I don't.
I mean, you have a lot of obscure 80s stuff.
Yeah, but you know what it would have to be for me to go in? Like, I can see myself getting, like, a gizmo, like a high dollar gizmo.
Or like a fuzzy one.
Yeah.
With like hair.
But, like, I don't think it's the right choice for me to have, like, one NECA gizmo.
Uh-huh.
You know? But if NECA were to really go the distance with that line, like if I knew we were getting the brain and all those, like I could see myself, putting together a shelf. But I feel like they mostly stick to Gizmo and Mohawk, like and you know and then a few of the ones they know they can sell multiples of, like the General Gremlin. And,
not specific molds.
Correct.
I guess they're worried about how popular those guys would be.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a risky business, so to speak.
God damn it. I think if you're in it enough to buy Gremlin toys, you'll be in it on those. Those are the cool dudes.
Yeah, and like the crazy wacky one, and then like the angry one, and I would do that because I like Gremlins 2 better than Gremlins 1, and I know that's
I do too.
It's just more. I think that's the right way to do that movie. I think that movie works better as like a comedy, like a comedy horror, than it does as a proper horror.
Yeah.
I mean, even though the first one's kind of trying to be a comedy, it's not like
not the second one.
But it's not the second one. The second one's like just good fun.
Yeah.
I love when he shoots that gremlin on the couch. He's like that. Clearly not civilized. Fun, yes, but not civilized. It's the best.
That's a good scene.
So it says the Gremlins animated series is officially moving forward at the Warner Media streaming service.
Yeah, more different streaming service.
The series, which Variety exclusively reported back in February, will be titled Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai, set in the 1920s in Shanghai.
Oh, my people!
Oh, you do it. There's a little sauce on that. Oh. And tell the story of how 10-year-old Sam Wing, future shop owner.
Oh,
okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Met the young Mogwai called Gizmo, along with a teenage street thief named Ellie. Sam and Gizmo take a perilous journey through the Chinese countryside, encountering and sometimes battling colorful monsters and spirits from Chinese folklore.
Cool.
That sounds perfect.
It sounds like Jackie Chan Adventures. It's a comic. It's a cartoon, motherfucker.
It sounds perfect, though.
Yeah.
All right, the second note is Bring Me a Dream. Sandman is going to land a Netflix series.
Yeah.
See, let's talk. Well, so let me read the note first, and we can kind of talk about it. The streaming giant confirmed in a press release that Alan Heinberg, Wonder Woman, has been brought on to serve as writer, executive producer, and showrunner of The Sandman. Additionally, the release confirms Gaiman will write and executively produce alongside David S. Goyer, who has worked on, for those who know, he worked on the Dark Knight stuff, he worked on a lot of the DC stuff. Per Netflix official summary of the new series, a rich blend of modern myth and dark fantasy in which contemporary fiction, historical drama, and legend are seamlessly interwoven. The Sandman follows the people and places affected by Morpheus, the Dream King, as he mends the cosmic and human mistakes he's made during his vast existence. Now, I have a lot to talk about.
Do you want Lawrence Fishburne to be more?
No. So let me say this. question number one.
Uh-huh.
Why isn't this on DC streaming network?
Is it really DC?
Yeah, it's a Vertigo book. It's DC owned.
Yeah, but it's off-label.
I mean, so Swamp Thing.
True.
You know, see that's.
But you see Swamp Thing in the DC universe. How often do you see Sandman in the DC universe?
Actually, Sandman has his origins in the DC universe. That's kind of what made it cool. Was he took this historical element of DC and spun this fucking thing out of it.
It's out of it.
It is out of it, but it's out of it only because it was born in it, molded by it.
Right.
It didn't see the panels till it was a boy. But
the ownership of the character, or
I don't know, dude. I can't imagine that Gaiman owns Sandman.
Oh, enough of him.
I can't
there's
imagine.
partial ownership to things nowadays, right?
Yeah, but this isn't nowadays. Sandman is old. That's an old book.
That's true.
See, so here, so this is why people think I've lost my mind, Joe.
I see a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, because this is why the numbers drive me nuts. God,
dude, you're gonna be like in a beautiful mind.
So like, DC owns this streaming service that they're trying desperately to get off the ground. What have they brought to it, right? Like they put all their animated shit on there and all their live action movies that are available fucking everywhere, like on DVD.
It's not doing well, is it?
So how do I know? So that's the thing is like so we got.
If no one's talking about it, it's not doing that.
What do they got? The Looney Tunes or whatever this crew is, this Doom Patrol.
Yes.
So they got that. Okay. Like, I'm a DC fan. I couldn't tell you much about Doom Patrol other than I know it has DC roots.
You probably know more about Paw Patrol.
I 100% know more about Paw Patrol. Look, Chase, Sky, Rubble, Marshall, there's like the one that looks like a wolf. I can't think of him. And I can, look, Chase is on the case, Marshall to the rescue, Rubble on the double, which is my personal favorite. I don't know Scott's saying. But what I'm saying is that, like...
That's more than you know about Doom Patrol.
Correct. And then there's Swamp Thing, which had a huge success behind it. A huge cult following. Canceled. Immediately canceled. Cut short and then canceled. Before it even got a chance to live. Why is The Sandman landing on Netflix when you're trying to get this... Like, that would be like... this Disney streaming shit getting ready to start, and they put the Marvel shit on Netflix.
But it's different, though. Marvel is successful. As soon as Marvel announces, like, oh, the shit is going to be on there.
But the only way to make the DC
it's not
shit...
Marvel, Disney.
Okay, but the only way to make the DC shit successful...
Maybe they gave up on it.
Well, okay then. So that's a plausible answer.
Like Sandman's going to make more money streaming on Netflix.
But that's what I'm suggesting is that maybe that is the case.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the case. I didn't even equate Sandman with DC because. So
let's get to show me the numbers. Show me the fucking numbers and show me
3 DC subscribers and sharing their fucking.
But see, I'm sorry to bring it back up, okay? But I'm losing my mind. All right. Sandman streams on DC streaming service. What is the paycheck for DC owning this material, producing this material, distributing this material per stream versus Netflix that's licensing this material, perhaps producing it, I didn't take a close enough look, and then distributing it? What do they get per stream? This is obviously going to be based on the fan base and the subscriber count of people in those various things. We know that Netflix is far bigger than DC streaming service, of course. But what is the bottom line? Because is it better? I guess what I'm saying is it better to sell 100 copies of your album out of your trunk than 1,000 copies of your album in Best Buy?
Right. Well, because if DC has, let's assume they have a low subscriber base, right? And then producing everything in-house, right? So they have to spend all that money for the small-ish subscriber base versus selling it or licensing it out to Netflix, automatically getting a paycheck from Netflix to have it, and then getting revenue from the streaming to however many that is. That you don't even have to do anything. It's like having third party people produce your shit for you.
No, I get that, but I guess what I'm saying is that only works for me if you don't care about the success of your streaming service.
I think that's what it is.
Then cool.
How long has it been out?
I don't even, probably a year.
I don't think it's.
And I think that's valid. But my point is that like if Doom Patrol was on Netflix, I would have watched it.
Right.
If Swamp Thing was on Netflix, I would have watched it. If Sandman was on DC, I would have subscribed to it.
Maybe they didn't have.
That's what I'm saying.
They might not have the confidence in that because Sandman.
They have to. It's a huge. It's probably one of their
in our world.
Launchpad books.
In our world. And
maybe.
Gen Pop, people.
Yeah.
Because you sell them to Gen Pop right now when you talk about numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, because people who have Netflix never heard about Sandman will check it out. Netflix original Sandman, they don't know what it is. Let's fucking watch it.
So here's the second part to that conversation for me. I hadn't seen until my 30s Indiana Jones 3, The Abyss, Back to the Future 3.
Oh.
Till my 30s. I still haven't read Sandman, and I feel the same way about having not read it as I did about not having seen those 3 movies. Like, I feel like it is something that, like, I feel like a poser when it comes to comic book talk because I haven't read that. Like, I feel like I feel like there is certain criteria. Like, you have to have read The Watchmen. You have to, you know what I mean? Like, there's these certain, like, checks that you, like, Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think, is one of those books. Like, Kingdom Come, I think, is one of those books. Infinity Gauntlet, I think, is one of those books. Like, it's just like certain books that you have to have scratched off that list to kind of be a real fan. And I hate that fucking kind of terminology. Yeah. And I know that no one applies that to me. I apply it to myself. Yeah. And every time I walk past those absolute ones, I'm like, I should just throw the dice on it. But that's a big fucking dice throw. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge investment. It's like 9 books at $100 a pop. That's like $1,000.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it being that much money.
Yeah, now I could get the bullshit trades.
Yeah.
You know, which is so that's the thing. The bullshit trades is the right choice to make, unless I love it.
Right. I wonder what are the odds of that.
Right. And the thing is, like, it's older art. You know, it's gonna be older storytelling. Yeah. You know, so I don't know. But
because it's like now telling someone who is a new fan to go read Infinity Gauntlet. You know, or
it sucks.
Or Age of Apocalypse.
Look, let me tell you something. Infinity Gauntlet sucks.
Yeah.
I've just read it last year. It's not good.
Yeah. But again, self-imposed, you had to have read it.
Yeah, and I think there's something about the time. Dude, I think there's a Star Wars conversation to have in there too, which is another thing we need to talk about today. Mm-hmm. But, so you ready to move on from the Sandman? Let me ask you this question. For the general public, not the fan, not the fanatic.
Okay.
Is it important to be a kid to fall in love with Star Wars?
I don't think so. Yeah, I predicated on the fact that you're already nerdish or into nerddom. You're not a normie.
The reason why I ask is because I remember going through the prequel era in the hate in regard to it, right? And it wasn't the kids. It wasn't like it was like 5 and 6 year olds running out of there like, the fucking pod race. I mean, 3 fucking laps. And who's that fucking guy that couldn't get his shit to start? Ben Quadde, who gives a fuck? You know, like it wasn't the kids.
I mean, to be fair, it's a kids movie. Maybe that's what it doesn't like it.
So, but that's I think my question is, I fell in love with Star Wars at a fanatic level when I was 4 or 5 years old.
I'm not sure if you can get into that level as an adult.
That's what I'm saying. 20 years later, I feel like there are avid prequel fans, right?
Because they were kids.
Correct. And now I feel like I'm going through... Dude, he just scared the shit out of me. I thought it was one of them shadow monsters again.
Who is it?
Not Black Phillip, but...
Black
Shadow Phillip.
Hey, what's up?
Marilyn Phillip just came in. You get sit over there, buddy. Or you want to get changed first? Or you want to just jump in?
I'll just jump in.
Okay.
How long you guys been going?
Hour and 23 minutes.
Oh, wow, really? Okay.
So the conversation that we were having...
Yeah, you got that tall mic by Adam.
What's up?
Yeah, this is don't.
You'll
never hear the end of it.
Oh shit.
Talk up to it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, actually, we don't have to worry about it because he's done.
Oh yeah, that's right. 200 was the last episode.
So let me ask you this. The question that I was raising was to fall in love with Star Wars at a fanatic level. Like a true, I don't mean, when I say true fan, I don't mean like, you're not a true fan because you don't know who Darth Revan's master was. I don't mean that. But I mean like love that shit to your marrow.
Uh-huh.
Do you have to be introduced to it as a child?
Ooh. I don't know, because I don't consider myself to the marrow fan. I enjoy it.
Same.
But I only really know the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I never collected any of the stuff. I never...
Right, but what does that have to do with what I'm saying?
I'm just thinking because I was introduced to it as a child.
So let me put another parameter on it. Just because you consume it as a child does not mean you will become a fanatic.
Okay.
But in order to be a fanatic, you have to be introduced to it as a child.
Because I'm trying to think if there's any adults that learned about Star Wars as an adult and then was like knees deep.
Whereas I feel like with the Marvel shit, there's been people, and even Batman and so forth, there's people that see the films as an adult. This is their first introduction really into the world. And
then they get into it heavily.
Like, I love this.
Yeah. I think for Star Wars, you kind of do have to have...
I think you might.
You have to be introduced at a young age.
And the reason why I say I was telling Joe is because like I saw it when I was 4 or 5 years old, and you know, 30 some years later, I fucking am naming my children after them.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, defending it against adults that hated the prequels.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later from then, we're seeing avid prequel fans hating the sequel trilogy because it's not their Star Wars.
Is Beast Wars fans hating the believers?
Well, but I guess, you know, but what I'm saying is that like you're a child, you absorb it, that becomes your blueprint to what this is. Mm-hmm. And then by the time they get into another series, we're pretty much looking at a 20-year gap every time.
Yeah.
And then when they do that, it's a whole new generation now that's being introduced to it. That's 3 different generations introduced to it at 3 different times.
Yeah.
And
just style filmmaking changes in 20 years.
Yeah, and the style, the kind of the
storytelling aspect.
Yeah, everything. Like the culture of the country that you live in. Like, you know, if like, I think they could probably get away. I mean, not by the micro fucking Twitter sphere. You know what I mean? But like, they could probably get away with a gay character in Star Wars now with minimal effect to the franchise. Mm-hmm. No way that was going to happen in '77.
No.
Yeah. Right.
So because of the cultural changes, and if you're releasing a set of these movies every 20 years, you know,
whole generations
are different. Their entire culture is different.
Wait, I thought Glover's portrayal was supposed to be pansexual.
Oh yeah. Which I think honestly is just taken out of context. I think
everybody's pansexual in that world because aliens are just around.
No, see, I don't read it that way. I think, and maybe it's my own baggage I'm bringing into it, right? But I think that I just get the impression that if that L3 or whatever, who he was banging, had a dude's voice, he probably wouldn't even consider it.
No.
I think it's the fact that he's like the ladies' man of the galaxy. Like just like
no matter what you look like, you're a lady.
Yeah. You can get it. Yeah, you got tentacles. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, Jello Blob.
Yeah, I'm with that. You're Jello Blob. I'm with that. You know, like it's like he's just like he's like an interspecies pimp.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
You know, that's kind of how I see him. But the only reason why I asked is because I almost feel like, you know, having a conversation with Star Wars fans now about the prequels and how forgiving people are of them, where I remember distinctly how unforgiving they were during the time, and I almost wonder if every trilogy needs 20 years to be digested properly, because like, there's people now that only like the prequels.
Really?
Yeah, because they're like the rest of it doesn't feel like Star Wars to them.
Wow! That is, to me, that's wild.
Yeah.
But I guess it all depends on when you come in.
My Star Wars has acrobatics and lightsaber duels that are unequivalent.
Okay. As an analogy to that, are there any Beast Wars fans that you know that don't like the original G1 because it doesn't feel like Transformers to them?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But I don't hang around with those people too much.
That's true. I just figured that'd be kind of an analogy.
Yeah. And I think that Transformers is different, but I don't think Transformers... I think Transformers sticks with far less.
Yeah. Far less material, definitely.
It's far less material, and
Yeah.
I think that, like, you know, the amount of people that were watching it as kids versus the amount of people that still celebrate it as adults, it's far less.
It's not the same. Not the same at all.
No.
Yeah. So we do have this one question, and then we'll get into this. And then we'll get into these other two discussions that kind of relate to my channel, which now is weird.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's not your fault. I was just saying, like, there's a couple of discussions. There's one question I got on Patreon about my channel that I wanted to tackle on some.
Yeah, you took your intro video down already.
And put it back up. We're going to talk about that as well.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you about that.
But it just gets weird when you're having like a room full of people and you're like, let's all talk about my channel.
It's a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, when one-on-one seems like a decent, like, intimate conversation. Okay, so let me read this. And I guess we didn't get any more questions. Because they hate us.
Not enough time between 200 and
yeah.
I mean,
obviously, that's what it is. All right, what's up, NRR team? Congrats on reaching 200. Dude, I apologize. Mike's been listening since like just about the beginning, and he's a Baltimore guy. I feel terrible. I've been enjoying the podcast from almost the very beginning. I even wrote a 5-star iTunes review way back then as well. I always look forward to every episode every week and your in-depth conversations about the things that nerds rage about. And this is a good question. Batman 1989 is also celebrating a milestone with its 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
What are your memories leading up to its release that summer and also watching the movie in the theaters for the first time? What impact did it have on you and your fandom in the years afterward? You go first, because were you even here?
No, I was back in Asia Land.
Were you? I mean, because you
What
didn't come
year
to
did you come to
96?
91.
91.
Okay.
It wasn't very, I mean, I remember liking it, Batman a lot, the movie as a child, but what I really remember was the rollout of Batman Returns.
Yeah. Did you see the first 89 in theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Batman Returns rollout was memorable with the McDonald's cup and then all the commercials and the Christmas theme and Christopher Walken and Michelle Pfeiffer and that black.
And I remember like the tagline, like the bat, the cat, the bird, or whatever.
Yes. Like that is what's memorable.
Yeah, those McDonald's cups, I wanted every single one.
Yeah.
I wanted all the McDonald's toys.
I still have a couple of them.
Like the Batmobile that actually disassembled because it had the mini missile come out. That was the most sought after one. It was the most rare one to get.
From McDonald's?
From McDonald's for Returns.
I had the Kenner one.
I have a little
that split.
metal one.
Oh, really? I never had the Kenner one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a little metal one. That's the only Batman thing I have, I think. It's a little Batmobile, which is, going back to the growing up thing, with something thing, that's always my Batmobile. No matter what Batmobile I see,
89?
Yeah,
the 89 Batmobile is my Batmobile.
Yeah.
And nothing is like
that's
it.
my favorite car.
I kind of like the when I first watched the animated series, I'm like, that's close, but that's not.
Yeah.
That's not
Actually,
the real Batmobile.
actually
I thought
that's
too.
the animated series is one of my least favorite.
Yeah, it's
just a style. It's like the 50s, like
it's
kinda,
too long. Like it's so
they took some of the idea from Keaton's version,
just like they did with everything.
Yeah.
And that Batwing, the Batplane, that's
that
my definitive Batplane. It looks just like the
That's
symbol when
perfect.
it went on the
That's
moon.
perfect.
That Micro Machine set was had the Batwing, the Batmobile, and the Joker van.
Yeah,
I played with that over and over and over again. I love that stuff.
So I had I have distinct memories of that film, like the rollout.
I went to the midnight screening with my dad.
See, my dad wouldn't take me.
He took me. Well, my parents were divorced, but he took me against my mother's wishes.
It's just sad, man.
And
that's my favorite response. Anytime anybody tells me their parents divorced, I'm like, dude, sad. Sit down, talk about this.
They've been divorced since I was 3. I have no recollection of them being together.
It's such a common thing of our generation.
Yeah.
You know, so like I always make a super big deal about it. People are like, no, it's fine. No. Hold their hands. No.
That caused a further problem between my parents.
Yeah.
That he took me to a Batman screening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Batman at the just because it was midnight and she thought it was way too violent.
At the 1, 2, 3.
It is pretty violent.
For the first one.
Is that where you saw it?
No.
Where'd you see it?
Indeed, when I still lived in
okay.
Detroit.
How old were you?
I would have been 8.
Yeah, me too. I think. Yeah,
I was 8.
It's a bit much for an 8-year-old.
I was turning 9 that December, but like, I remember like the trailers. I remember all that shit. I remember in the trailers it was where does he get those wonderful toys?
Yeah.
That was in the trailer. Him crashing through the ceiling.
Yep.
That was.
I remember crashing through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Joker looking up with a smeared mat with a smeared.
Yep. The
and then pointing the
thing,
grappling look and it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was in the trailer.
And one of the plane scenes I think too.
Yes. Yes, I think
They
he
didn't
was
reveal
driving
too much
through
with
like
it.
Main
Yeah,
Street or
yeah.
whatever.
Which was tragic.
And of course the car.
The plane
Yeah.
being as cool as it made it 1 second appearance, got
Yeah.
shot by a revolver and went down.
Yeah,
that was
cool,
trash.
though.
That was
cool.
a great scene.
It wasn't the plane was.
The-
I mean, the plane itself was a letdown.
It was when he kept bringing that.
Oh, yeah.
His whole pants.
So good.
It wasn't it the whole time.
There are like Joker
Uh.
character elements that they've never really been able to recapture
Yeah.
since then, like the wacky Joker.
Yeah.
You know.
Wacky but dangerous.
But so let me talk about this a bit. So I remember distinctly, like, I wanted to see this fucking thing so bad. I had Batman figures as a kid. I loved the '66 show, like the whole bit, and I was like, please, like, my life depends on seeing this movie. You know.
That's what Dad took me.
and my dad was like, I don't think we're gonna see that one. And I was like, why? You know, I couldn't understand it. I was like, it's Batman. It's not like I'm asking you to go see Freddy Krueger, which was like the other big pop culture icon at the time. You know, I was like, it's just Batman. He was like, it's too dark. I think it's too dark. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean dark? I was like, whatever. So my buddy Colin that lived in the neighborhood, he saw it. His mom didn't give a shit. And
Always had one of those friends.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Except, I'll tell you what, man. Not for nothing. His mom did me super dirty one time, and my grandmother like fucking snapped at her like in a lady-esque way because that was my grandmother. But Colin used to hang out at my house all the time, and his mother cleaned houses. You know, like I had a very working class neighborhood, and he would like we would babysit him basically. But
So he was younger than you.
no, same age.
Oh,
But
so he's watching her.
yeah, but,
Okay.
but like that's basically what it was. Like
Yeah.
otherwise he would have to tag along with her.
Yeah.
He would just hang out with me in my house. We were basically babysitting him while the mother would go work, like during the
Gotcha.
summer.
Yeah.
And like my grandmother fed him. Like that's how my family.
Wow.
I mean, that's how my
Yeah,
family
yeah.
was then. That's how my family is now. You know, like if you're here and there's food,
Yeah.
mind you.
Yeah.
You know, so like I can't tell you how many days this kid had breakfast, lunch, and usually not dinner at my house. And one time I happened to be at his house. Same thing. I'm rarely at your house. You're usually at my house. It's been my whole life story.
Mm-hmm.
One time I happened to be at his house and they had made fried chicken. And this to this day, it's probably fucked up. It's my mind, in my mind's eye. You know, it's the best fried chicken I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was crispy golden perfection.
Fresh
You know
made.
what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, that looks perfect. Can I have a piece of that? And they told me no.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wrong.
And I went home and I told my grandma, I was like, I was like, go ask them what that is, and we need to make that tonight. Like, we need to, like, let's get
Oh,
started.
I'm sure your grandmother was
Like,
pissed.
we're wasting valuable time.
I can't
She was-
imagine.
And she was like, what was it? And I was like, it's like a chicken, but I've never seen chicken look like this. And, you know, and she went over there and she was like, are you guys having dinner? And they're like, yeah. And I said, what is it? It's fried chicken. We fried some chicken. I see. And he's not welcome to have any, I imagine. And she was like, no. Okay, that's fine. That seems fair, right?
Shit, dude.
You'll probably sleep well tonight, knowing that you wouldn't give him a piece of chicken from your plate. Okay. Colin will be over tomorrow around 8. Sounds good. And went back.
Was there any fallout from that at all?
Mm-mm. I mean, like,
Dude, that is
like
trash.
his mother never came around, you know, anymore. Like I never saw her anymore. I never went over there anymore.
Mhm.
But he still came over all the time. We still watched him, still fed him, still like, you know.
Dude, that is trash.
But anyway, so he had saw it, and he was like, I told him, I was like, yeah, my dad said I can't see it. He said, why? And I was like, he says it's too dark. And he's like, yeah, it is, like all at night. But we're 8 years old, you know. So I said to him, I was like, it's all at night, and he's like, no, there's like this one scene during the day where like Joker's wearing a weird costume.
Yeah, there's this
The
step
mime,
scene.
yeah. So
I love that scene,
so
man.
of course, but as a kid, I was like, why is he wearing this fucking? I don't get this. So I went back to my dad and I was like, look, Colin said, you know, you paint the shit different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple scenes that's during the daytime. Like, you know, and then my dad was like, no, dark like hatred. Like these characters hate one another, where they want to see each other destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Optimus Prime and Megatron want to see each other destroyed. And he was like, not like this. And I was like, Megatron did destroy Optimus Prime. You know,
I saw the 86 cartoon.
Yeah,
man.
like these are the comparisons I was making. And then he finally let me go see it. And it was like utter fulfillment. Like,
did he go with you, or did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went to Columbia 1, 2, 3. Like,
when did what was his opinion upon?
I loved it. He loved the movie.
Did he think it was too dark for you? Still,
I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I don't know. But he
Call him up.
I haven't spoken to him since I don't know I was going to go next time.
He's like, what was that about, Bob?
Yeah. How much are we drinking on it? But anyway, I just remember I had to have I was immersed. Like I was like I needed the figures, I needed the cards, I had the Topps cards, I had the Micro Machines. Like that was Batmania for me.
Yeah.
Was
because they took the old Superpowers card stock for the blister pack, and they modified it for. They just put a little gold instead of yellow and modified the star. Like, it was the exact same pattern. Yeah, and as the Superpowers that come out earlier.
And they released like Joker was just a re-release, like the same mold. Like there was a lot.
The Batman figure was
the Batman was new, and
because it had the
bob,
pull-out belt,
and the bob was new.
Yeah.
Everything else was the same. Yeah. Penguin was the same. Everything else, and then when they got later on down the line, then Catwoman was new, Robin was new, and then then they got like
for Returns and stuff.
Yeah. And they had the Penguin 2-pack, like the actual penguins with the rocket launcher.
Oh yeah. Mom actually liked that toy. She didn't like most of my toys.
Yeah, but that movie. I think you could make an argument, and I know some would say it's the Superman film. But I think you could make an argument that that's the film that legitimized comic book properties as films.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, Superman legitimized special effects done that way. But film, as general, comic book stuff still wasn't thought of as viable.
Like taken seriously.
Couldn't be taken seriously until 89.
Because Superman's still a little bit campy.
Yeah. And so is Batman, to be fair. Yeah. It's still a little campy.
But it's dark enough to where...
But it made it edgy enough where it's like, we can...
Yeah,
film companies saw that and said, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, and then they were like, "Let's make everybody edgy," which is like what they did for
years.
'90s. Because that's how Hollywood is. Like, if one thing wins, it's like
too bad. You know what? Too bad Gambit didn't come out then.
It would have been perfect.
He was smoking a whole pack of Marlboros in one scene.
It would have been perfect.
I think that movie might be why. Like, I to this day, I don't see why everyone makes such a big deal of Batman killing people. It's become a thing. More lately.
I think once you got into the books and you started to really dissect the character, that's when and it's the books during that specific period as well, right? Like I think that what's interesting about him is that that's the difference for him. What makes a human being a despicable human being is murder, is taking the life of someone else because.
But he has done it.
Because a despicable person took the life of his parents.
Yeah.
So. That's the ultimate division of where him and them are. Because he knows he breaks the rules. He knows he breaks the law. So it's not like he's like fucking up jaywalkers.
He's got his own code.
So for him, and he knows, I think he also knows that he's dangerously close sometimes, to breaking. So for him, it's like, I'm always ultimately not the bad guy. If I don't do what bad guys do. Mm-hmm. And in his head, bad guys only murder, I think. And to a large extent, Yeah. But yeah. Dude, that I think is probably the most important comic book movie I've read.
Yeah, probably. It's the linchpin where everything changed after that. So.
Yeah.
And then the logo, like it was just, the poster was just black, just the bat symbol.
Yeah.
It defined the marketing. It defined the structure of a superhero film, where you do the origin, you introduce the villain, you explain the villain, you put the villain and the hero at odds, you explain how that works, and then they have that shit still followed.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, that would be that. So let me talk about these two things in regard to my channel, and then we can get the fuck out of here. So one is the Skull Wars, right? So there's like a lot of Star Wars conversations that I want to have, and like shout out to this guy Andy. He's actually helping me with some, like doing some of the legwork for me, and I like offered to like help him, or like throw some money his way, and because he's doing a lot of legwork for me. Wow. And he hit me up and he was like, "Dude, I want to be involved in this." He's like, "Star Wars is my life," and wow. So he's like Irish dude, and I'll probably say he's probably like, "I'm Scottish," but like
he's from overseas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he hit me up, and I was like, I'm cautious with that type of shit. So I was like, let's talk. via Skype. So I talked via Skype. I was like, okay, this guy's on the low. He's a regular guy. He's not like some wacko, like because you never know.
Yeah.
But we had like a really decent conversation, and he's been helping me out. So I really want to do this because I want to get into these discussions. I want to start having some of these discussions, and I don't want to paint everything with such a broad brush that I feel like Star Wars is often painted with, especially today.
Nowadays,
yeah.
It's very divisive.
Yeah. So, for instance, the one that I'm working on right now, which I don't think I'm going to launch first because I want to kind of ease people into it. I gotta warm you up for a bit. You know what I mean? But I'm working on this kind of dissection and analyzation of the Canobite sequence.
Okay.
And what's good about it, what's wrong about it, what's wrong with what people are saying is wrong about it, and vice versa.
Okay.
And as you all know, I'm not a huge fan of that sequence. But the reason why I'm not a huge fan of that sequence, in my opinion, of course, is the right reason. It's not the wrong reason. It's not because I think they're trying to shoehorn some political agenda about war is bad, Republicans are bad, rich people are bad, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that's the message there.
I think you can just cut the whole part out and the movie would stay the same. Basically.
Well, you need
to go and get the guy, but that's about it.
You need to go and get the guy. That's all you need to do, right?
So that's a whole other side story.
Correct. So the problem is that you go through 3 sequences, and I don't want to give all the spoilers. The problem is that you go through 3 sequences, right? You go through the casino sequence, you go through the jail sequence, and then you go through the horse riding,
the racing,
sequence,
whatever, yeah.
and you only need one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with it. But the problem with it is not that they're saying rich people are bad. That's not the argument there.
Mm-hmm.
Padme is filthy rich.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the argument. Like, that's not a Star Wars argument, and that's not a Disney argument. There's wealthy characters that are fine.
Disney's very wealthy.
Disney itself is very wealthy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to say that they're saying that wealth is bad is to say that they're saying that they are bad, and I don't think that's something that they would say.
Right.
But I want to start getting into some of these conversations.
More dangerous
conversations, honestly. And some of the stuff I'm going to slow roll. I'm going to start with some safer ones, and we're going to escalate.
Is it all, yeah. Okay. Is it mostly discussion?
No.
You're going to have toys and stuff?
Yeah, it'll be mostly toys because they're easier to do in terms of...
Like kind of like Transformers, you have to sit down Saturdays.
Correct. So it'll probably be Force Fridays, so I'm not going to put that out there right now. Probably Force Fridays. And it probably won't be every Friday because I just don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, I don't know. When you said you were announcing a second channel, I was like, holy shit.
Did you know he's putting this to you?
Yeah.
Ooh. I know you dropped out a couple episodes every now and then, but
yeah, that's true. So
and that didn't used to happen.
No. But I mean, honestly, and that's part of it too, and not related to Skull Wars or anything. But dropping out of that is because my time is limited, and I can't sacrifice everything anymore for I just can't. But
it's too much stuff.
It's too much stuff.
Yeah,
and I kind of need like I have goals with my shit, and in order to achieve those goals, I need to focus on the things that are going to help me achieve them and do the things that I enjoy,
passionate about,
but don't necessarily work towards that goal. I need to do those as I can,
when you have time.
Correct.
Not make the time for it.
Correct. But it's going to be mostly reviews, 1/6, 1/12, 1/4. And then some random stuff.
Are you gonna upload like old stuff you've done already?
I don't think so. I've thought about it. I don't know. I gotta run that past.
I mean, just do it once a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, but I'm also gonna do other stuff like shout out to Esteban and Calum. Esteban and Calum, as I've said before, they're both gonna be in my pockets over the next couple of years, but. They went to Galaxy's Edge, and they both offered to get it for me. It's just Esteban's worked out first, and they got like the Sith statues that are in Palpatine's office, and they're like bookends or whatever. I'm going to use them, 2 of them for dioramas, and then 2 of them for bookends.
Wow.
But like I'll review those,
yeah.
Even though they don't fit into any of the classic things, but just because I think it's like this is something that's obscure, it's worth talking about. Yeah, exactly. But I want to get into the conversation, and I don't want just those discussions to be. It's not all going to be praising and worshiping. Like I want to talk about the problems that I have with the Canobite sequence, because I want to.
Yeah. Like real criticism.
Correct.
Like fair criticism.
Correct.
As subjective as you can be.
Correct. I want to talk about you know, some of the, like, I do feel like Star Wars has to be cautious of falling into certain tropes. Like, you know, we've seen good guys infiltrate the bad guy base in bad guy outfits now 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, like, we need to be cautious of these things before they start becoming the fucking Quidditch, or what is it ever called? Quidditch in Harry Potter, where it's going to be in every fucking movie. You know, I think and I've said this on this channel before, but I think that they need to stop treating Star Wars films like it's their daughter's virginity. You know, like, it's not this super precious thing. Like, you can put teasers. We should have a trailer by now. We should have more marketing rollout. Yeah, like, like, fucking teases. Work us over.
How do you know we're not going to have that today? I'm sure you would know already.
I would know. Yeah,
You would only get like 800 texts.
Yeah, it's D23. I mean, that's when it's going to hit.
Yeah.
But, like, that's August.
Yeah.
September, October, November. There's 4 months. It's a 4 months for a trailer rollout. Yeah, it's look what they did to Solo. But people didn't even know Solo was out. People didn't even know Solo was a movie. You know, because they treat it like you can't.
Yeah.
It's like you don't show Doomsday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But show us some shit. Put some music in it and show some ships flying around. It gets people excited.
They had to start showing the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer right around the time Endgame came out, and they couldn't give anything away really. But they at least cut something.
Yeah, I think that's a fine line. Like, you can only show so much, but if you start showing it too soon, then it's gonna be the same stuff over and over again.
Right. You just need somebody smart. You know, I mean, you know, that's all you need is somebody to make the right decisions.
It's the same company as Marvel, so somebody's got to learn to do something.
If there's no harm, there would be no harm in Black Series figures of characters that are going to be introduced in Episode 9 hitting today. There would be no harm in it.
What about
it wouldn't spoil. That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't spoil anything.
What is dropping this week? I heard there was something dropping this week. That's the classic figures, or
the archive figures have dropped a couple weeks ago. Okay. But recently enough, I got them. Okay. Tyler picked them up in where he was at, and got them to me when he came down for $200. But you know, I want to be critical of those things. You know, I want to have. I don't want to. It's not going to be a praise fest.
Okay.
You know, that's not my goal. My goal is to engage in discussion and have people hopefully engage in healthy, because it's because that fucking world is lost. That Star Wars YouTube world, it's gone. It is the wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd rather see people having, you know, even with disagreements, you know,
you need some constructive back and forth.
Correct.
Will you be able to have the guy who's Scottish on?
Yeah.
And record something like that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
What about Caleb or
see, but I'm not sure. I'm sure I could get those fellows to chime in on something too if it made sense. But I think it would be more interesting to me to have a conversation with somebody who thinks it's trash.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't want to approach it like it's all trash. Disney ruined Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Kathy Kennedy ruined Star Wars. Like, I don't.
Plenty of people out there like that.
Correct, but I would rather let's zero in. Kathy Kennedy ruined what element of Star Wars? And did she ruin Jurassic Park for you too, or did she just become a monster now?
She kind of ruined Jurassic for me.
So you didn't like the first one?
Jurassic World?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's true. No.
You didn't like E.T.? She's been around for a while.
That's true. I forgot she's been around since E.T. I forgot she was involved with Jurassic Park too.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying is that, like, if we're saying that Kathy Kennedy ruined Star Wars, okay, let's table it. Obviously, it's a thought out there. So what about it did she ruin?
Yeah, which part specific?
What about it? Mm-hmm. And if it's like, well, it's feminist agenda. Okay, so that's the conversation. It's not that Kathy Kennedy ruined Star Wars. It's that Kathy Kennedy has a feminist agenda. Let's have that conversation specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a fair discussion on like what...
Could you convince Gary to have a back and forth with you about it? I mean, that would be the ultimate.
I mean, right? I could. That would probably work better in a podcast atmosphere.
Okay.
Because Gary is a curmudgeon, like, you know, self-titled. Yeah. Like, that would, if he put out an album, that would be the name. He wants that shit a very specific way, and it hasn't been that way in 38 years.
It's been a long time.
You know? So, like...
Will he even go to see Episode 9?
I don't... He wouldn't be against it, but he wouldn't go out of his way. But I got nothing to do today, and the kids are in school. I can go see Star Wars, you know, in a matinee for something. You know what I mean? But like, he'll definitely see it at some point. But I think like he just saw Last Jedi like a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, and he kind of felt like it was fine.
Okay.
Like he didn't hate it, but he didn't love it.
But
he hates Phantom Menace. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he hates it. He hates.
Did he hate 7?
I think he hated Rogue One too.
Yeah, hated Rogue
One.
He
hated Rogue One. Oh
yeah.
Man.
And
like surprised that he's.
Let me be clear. He didn't like 8.
Yeah.
At all.
But he
was just like, I think he's so numb to it.
Yeah, he's
just like,
checked out.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars doing Star Wars. Yeah, it's a long time ago. I get it.
Okay.
But anyway, so I want to have this, but what I was going to say is I don't want to limit it to just films. Like there's toy discussions I want to have similarly, like like
books and comics.
Yeah,
and
you can do
games.
the EU and
Star Wars.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about like there's conversations I've been trying to kind of shoehorn into Shadowcast and shoehorn into that have been difficult to have, but I just have them myself. You know what I mean? But why is the Legends line in the Black Series line treated so differently?
Yeah,
it's
markedly different.
Like that's a conversation I think that's worth having. I gotta make sure I build this audience within my audience, and then in addition to my audience that's interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the challenge. But so I set up this other channel because I was like, man, I'll just disregard the algorithm, and everything felt right about it, building it, everything, until I uploaded videos to it.
Okay.
And when I uploaded videos to it and I had them scheduled, I was like, it just doesn't feel good to me. I can't tell you why. It just doesn't feel good.
So you didn't have confidence in your rollout?
Well, not necessarily. I didn't do much of a rollout, but it's not even that. It's just that like, it was more about the intention. It was more about the fact that like I am creating this thing because YouTube works away and I'm willing to just fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what was...
Because you just said you were going to go against the algorithm. And you didn't feel like you were doing that?
Well, no, I was going against the algorithm in the sense that like my channel definitely has a Transformers algorithm to it. Okay. So I was going against that by saying I'm going to start a new channel with a new algorithm. But what I'm actually doing now is going against that and saying, look, I'm just going to do Transformers and Star Wars. And I'm going to pump so much content of both that it's going to have to, at some point, start hitting both.
Okay.
But at any rate, like I was like, it didn't feel right in my gut. So like the video launched in the morning and normally I would have pushed it. I would have pushed it everywhere to start building it. But I didn't promote it anywhere. You texted me and was like, "Where's it at? I can't find it." I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put any links out because in my gut I had a gut feeling about it that it just didn't feel right. So I was talking to Laura about it, and I was like, "I think I want to do it on my channel." I was like, "I fucking built that channel, and I don't want to fucking have to build something else because some number system is telling me that I can't do it."
I mean, that was my initial reaction when you told me.
Yeah, and I should have. Maybe I should have chewed that over more, but I'm hard headed and stubborn and. So,
but you came around to the conclusion anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, then I took everything down. I put everything back up on my channel, and I took and I redid the intro and outro to the collection tour, and the response overwhelmingly has been positive.
So Skull Wars is not a thing anymore.
It's a show.
It's just a show on
my channel
on Skullface. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was one person that had something kind of stupid to say, but
the one that was like only cares about Transformers.
Yeah, definitely only cares about Transformers.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that.
Okay. And I responded to it, and I was just like,
it's fine.
Yeah, I was like, that's fine. Do what you got to do. But he was basically like, well, it's a shame. I enjoyed your content, but now I can't watch you anymore. It's like,
what?
I'm like, well, I'm not sure if he even listened. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing is changing about my channel, about what's there now. It's just that more is coming that you may not be interested in. Yeah. And if you're not, then don't watch it. I don't want you to watch it to help me.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. I only want you to watch it if you want to watch it. That's how I kind of feel about all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, enough about that. But that's.
I like it personally.
Yeah, and I am enjoying it.
Good.
And like that's got to count for something.
I mean,
if you don't enjoy it, you're gonna question why you're doing it at all.
And also, like, it's some spice. So this brings me into the next discussion, which was a Patreon question, because I had mentioned, I can't remember whether I mentioned it on a podcast or on 4 Dummies or what, but that I have some frustrations in regard to my channel. Mm-hmm. And he asked in the comments, he's like, why are you frustrated with your channel? And I was like, man, I want to answer this so bad, but I can't type the answer to this.
Okay.
You know? And the thing is that I'm frustrated when, like, when you start off, right, you come into my restaurant, right, you made a choice.
Oh, it's food again. Nice.
Yeah, food or sex. It's the only metaphors I use.
Come into your brothel.
Yeah. So you come into my restaurant. You took a gamble on it. You liked the sign outside. Smelled good, maybe. You come into the restaurant. But you like Japanese food. Specifically raw eggs. And you knew that I was serving, you'd heard that I was serving some sushi. Mm-hmm. So you had some sushi. And you were like, I like this sushi. He has a rewards membership program if I buy here. Right? That's my metaphor for subscription.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and join the rewards program. It's free. And I'll know if anything new changes at the restaurant. So you come back for the sushi, come back for the sushi, come back for the sushi. One day I'm like, look, I got sushi because I know how to make some sushi. But I also got these fries. I got these fries.
Sushi and fries.
I got these fries. You might not want them together, but I got these fries, and they're pretty good, right? And you eat the fries. You're like, not bad. I can eat them, but I prefer the sushi. Okay, cool. I get it. Sushi is what? Seafood.
Yep.
So now you come back, and I got crab legs.
Crab legs, y'all.
So I'm like, you should try the crab legs. So I'll try them. Now, the crab legs are meatier. There's more to get into. Takes a little bit of work to get into them. Mm-hmm. But the meat is in it. And that's my metaphor for discussion videos. And that you enjoy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And now what I'm saying is I'm offering you not the French fries anymore, but I'm going to offer you some steak. And maybe you like it, maybe you won't like it. But just because you like it or don't like the steak, it's still going to be meaty. It's still going to be cooked the same way that I cook everything. And if you don't like it, the crab legs and the sushi still on the menu.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think he understood that, you know, in that comment.
Mm-hmm. It's like black or white. It's like, oh, I'm not.
If you're not with me, you are my enemy.
I don't like steaks. I'm not going to run your restaurant anymore, even though you still serve what I like. Which doesn't make sense. But people are people.
Yeah, and the truth is that, like, you know, I can review all this Transformer shit and it's because I mainly review third party, and I think third party is interesting. I think it's just an interesting phenomenon.
It's also dead.
But it's dying. And the MP game is all but dead.
Yeah.
And the MP game is where my passion is in regard to third party.
Yep.
So my passion for it is dying. I still enjoy reviewing like the Legend stuff. Like I did that Blue Streak. I had a great time doing that review. And I thought it was super cool. And I think I said in there the best toys I don't buy. You know? But
you can always make the switch like Justin.
I need to make I don't want it. Like I know what I want. I just need them to finish it. But I don't know if they're even going to finish it. I don't even know if that's feasible anymore. So
I had that discussion on SU this week. I was like,
but nobody.
We're going to suck it up. Which ones I'm going to suck it up and say we're not going to get it?
And you should see the pushback to that. People like just don't see it because they don't want to believe it. It's like the end is me. But like, so all I want to do is, I'll always respect my viewership. I always have. Mm-hmm. So I know you want to see what's going on with this, every third party piece. So every third party piece that I can review, I will review it for you.
Yeah, and then there's some stuff that you don't even like.
Correct. And then there's some third party stuff that I want to review for me and for you.
Right.
But I want to do more shit that I just want to do just for me more.
Right.
So
you gotta enjoy doing the work.
Yeah. So I'm just introducing more work that I enjoy. Like I still enjoy doing 4 Dummies. Like I just did this 4 Dummies today that I want to show you guys actually. It's my favorite one so far.
They're all great.
This one,
they're hilarious, man.
This one is my favorite one.
All right.
Period. But honestly, I don't know how it's going to go over.
Oh,
you know,
you don't care, right?
But I don't care because I had such a good time doing it. Sit Down Saturday I still enjoy. It's work. That one feels like work because that one.
That's a lot of work.
Like I do research. I work it out. I have like outlines.
Those are actually my favorite videos.
All
you
the
do
red
now.
strings you have over your wall.
But like even with that though, like I need. Sometimes I feel like, man, I need something to talk about. Like, what the fuck am I going to talk about this week? You know, just because nothing really interesting, exciting is happening in a lot of ways. But I'll still do it because I know people like it, and as long as I have something that I feel like is worthwhile doing, I'll do it.
So will Sit Down Saturday have be Star Wars too?
No.
Sit Down Saturday is mainly a Transformers thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Sit Down Saturday, 4 Dummies. 4 Dummies might divert here and there. If everybody wants to talk about it, I'll never be like, "Hey guys, I want to talk about this." Like, well, I don't give a shit about this.
I mean, it's like SCU. Sometimes you guys go off.
Yeah, but like if I'm like, look, man, like this is something that we should talk about because it kind of ties into what we do, then I'll do it. So the other thing that gets frustrating in regard to my channel. So that was one thing. That's the major thing is that like there's just not enough product coming out that I'm interested in to keep my gas tank full.
Yeah,
you know, I feel like like. The review element of it is like running on fumes. The discussion element of it is doing just fine. And I like reviewing when I really want to talk about the figure. I did this fucking Darth Maul review today. I couldn't shut up about it, you know, because I just felt like there was a lot of things to fucking talk about regarding it. So then there was the other thing is this glass ceiling that I feel like I'm hitting, and it's more so about like that's why I've kind of been pushing these numbers, you know, and I knew if I knocked on that door hard enough, somebody would eventually answer, and somebody eventually answered, you know, which we talked about on episode 200. So now that I know those numbers, right, roughly, and I look at those numbers, and let's say I multiply those numbers by 4, so 2 times 4 is 8. And then I multiply it by people that are even willing to be interested in watching something they're not interested in. Let's add 2,000. So let's say 10,000 people are have a dog in the fight of what I'm doing. So I have 20,000 subscribers approximately, and I get about 5,000 views on a good video. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So who's left to get? Who's left to help, not help, but who's left to build my channel? When the entire fan base, I feel like, has probably either A, decided they're not interested, or B, is watching in some capacity.
Yeah, at this point, with this many years behind you.
Like, I feel like I've got them all.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean that in any kind of, like, narcissistic way.
No, just a numbers thing.
Just a numbers thing.
Yeah.
So, in order for my channel to continue growing, as I want it to grow, it's like one of the things where like everything is lining up. Like I want my channel to grow because I'm building something, right? And I want it to constantly get bigger until the point where I'm like, all right, this is enough, you know. And who knows when that'll be?
Bobby never has enough.
Right.
You gotta diversify your bonds, Joker.
And then on the same time, like I want to talk about some more stuff that I'm passionate about instead of stuff that I feel like I'm doing as not fan service. That's not the right word, but as like. I'm doing this for you. I'm only doing this for you. You know? So that plus that equals new content. Yeah. You know, and like to me it started as I was thinking through it and talking through it with Laura, like it just started to solve the puzzle started to solve itself. So it was mainly that. I felt like I was hitting a glass ceiling with my channel, and I felt stagnant mainly in the review element of my channel, not so much in the discussion element. But as soon as I was like, well, as soon as you start doing reviews, you can start doing discussions. And I do enjoy doing the discussions. So I can make some big points that I feel like I've been wanting to make for a long time. And I make them on Nerd Rage, but Nerd Rage doesn't do the numbers. Once again, like, you know, Nerd Rage does about 600 listens a week. You know, it's about 400 4 to 500 on Podbean, which is what we publish through. And then about another 100 to 200 on YouTube on a good week. So 600 to 700, you know, which is cool. But like, and I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. But the stuff, the points that I want to make about some of this Transformer shit, the points that I want to make about some of this Star Wars shit, I want a lot. I want to shout my message from the mountaintops.
To the fandom.
Correct. And and I don't want to make it seem away because there's a lot of times where I appreciate that the numbers on Nerd Rage are significantly smaller because I feel like I can say the shit in kind of it doesn't hit all the radars. It's like I'm just talking to the people that are really interested in the shit, and it's
just a circle.
Correct. And then I can say things like, I've been talking about the second channel on Nerd Rage for a while, but nobody that was, not nobody, but a large majority of my comment section has no idea. So like, I appreciate that element. It's almost like if Nerd Rage was doing 5,000, 6,000 numbers wise, they would be like, well, fuck, now I can't say these things on Nerd Rage that I could normally say here. So I kind of like, not that I don't want Nerd Rage to grow, I do, but I would probably have to create another outlet because just for this like constant outlet, intimate, exactly.
I mean, kind of like the bonus content on Patreon is what it is.
Yeah, dude,
really private stuff.
That shit is like, I can go balls to the wall. I can really go and say everything I want to say and not give a fuck. And then sometimes I feel guilty because, like, dude, Josh, shout out to Josh. Josh, I love you, dude. But I feel like I've just been kicking that dude in the balls, like, for the past month. And it's by accident, Because I'm like we were talking about, like, kids' names or whatever. And I was like, just all the Aidens and Madisons. And he's like, my daughter's name is. And it's not that I don't like the name. It's not that I don't like Aiden. It's just that I hate when like the whole society says we're naming our children this now.
Yes.
That's what gets on my nerves. And then I was like, oh, fucking Iceman. Nobody gives a shit about Iceman. And he's like, dude, my favorite character. I'm like, Josh, I'm fucking sorry. you're catching me in some bad nights here. But still, I know that I can do and talk that shit on Patreon about whatever, and Josh knows my heart. That's what I really value about that shit. So, that's where the raw is. That's where the raw coke is. I mean, some of the stuff that we're putting out on 4 Dummies on the Patreon is like, dude, I have to listen to it like, dude, I don't know.
Dude, I was thinking about 200. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's some shit in there. But you know what? I listen back to it and like,
it's not the worst so far. I'm 1 hour in.
Yeah, it's not. It's and I think that I was drunk enough where I was like, I know this can come across a way, so I really have to prove that it's not that way.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, the numbers are not huge enough where I can be a little bit more flexible in that space, because I don't have to worry about
getting shit on.
Yeah. And I think that'll do it for today.
Yeah,
that's it.
Over 2 hours.
Yeah, 2:11.
Oh, just there you go.
It was a good show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There's
some good discussion.
Yep.
Phil, you missed all the good parts.
I know. Did you get to any of the notes?
Yeah. We did a couple things, and we had a good discussion about the Bat family and and the X-Men, and it was good. Shout out to the rest of the Cool Table Network, Shattercast Uncut, Enter the Realm, Nerd Rage Radio is us, Shattercast Uncut. What else am I missing? Enter the Realm. Who's that over there? Who's in that corner?
Beer and Bolters?
Oh, Beer and Bolters.
Oh my God.
Beer and Bolters.
Adam's not here. You completely forgot.
I didn't do it last week.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You were ready to get out.
Yeah. Well, because it was 3 hours and 30 minutes. I was like, look at this. Plastic Fanatics, Stasis Lock, Toy Detox, building up to it, Fresh Communications, Verbally Challenge, and Breaking the Mold. And shout out to the rest of the Nerd Rage team. Marilyn, Phillip, you're here today. You want to talk about anything about Nerd Week? Anything on Nerd Week?
Well, we didn't really do Nerd Weeks on 200, so just some of the Black Label comics that had started coming out. The 3rd and final issue of Damned came out, Batman Damned.
3rd and final?
Yeah. It was only supposed to be 3 issues.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
How is it? Total, overall.
Overall.
Does it make sense?
It is interpretive. I like it because I love Bermeo's artwork, and I think it was a creative story. Does the Constantine element make sense? Sort of, because of how it ends, but it ends almost on a cliffhanger where you can interpret the ending as well. You should definitely read it. I'd be curious to get your brain about it. I would like to. But I think after,
I want more Keanu Constantine.
That's a good.
I wouldn't be opposed. I like Matt.
You rolled your eyes at first.
I like Matt Ryan.
You fucking rolled your eyes.
No, I would take that. But I also like Matt Ryan as Constantine. He's done the voice a whole lot, and he's been the character, and he really fits it.
Well, let me say this: I like the movie, but I don't think it's Keanu that makes me.
No, it's not. Okay. But I'm okay with a sequel with him.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay.
I think after, because I have one of the Bat Penis issues from the first issue before the run got cut.
Weird flex.
Before the
but because there was a total shift after that, the second or third issue I have a sneaking suspicion there was going to be more stuff in there that was more risque, and they've definitely cut it out.
And that
so
sucks.
It makes the second and third issues feel choppy to me.
If you're gonna go hard, go. So
Yeah, it wasn't. It was
classic.
Because that's happened now, it's affected all the other Black Label stuff, which is why they're so delayed.
No doubt.
Three Jokers still hasn't come out. They've been talking about it for a year.
They should. Yeah. They should.
But anyway, I got the first issue of Superman Year One came out, which is supposed to be Black Label. It's Frank Miller writing the story, and John Romita Jr. doing the artwork. And it's cool, but the Year One title is a marketing ploy. It's not Year One like you would think it would be, which is why they use the title. Because they know Batman Year One is a high seller, so they're trying to imitate that. Right. And this is a more appropriate title would be Superman the Beginning, because it's not his first year as Superman. It's him starting from childhood again. It's just retelling the origin. Yeah. So the first issue doesn't even get to the. I
would love a proper Year One Superman.
Yeah, I would.
Did you watch
the book I gave to Adam? The book I gave to Adam, which is his first year in Metropolis. That it was basically a 1 or 2 issue story that was in one comment. You should grab it from him. Because it was basically his first year in Metropolis, learning the ropes, because he's unwilling to use the costume right away.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But this book is him starting, and the whole thing that Miller talked about publicly, so it's not a spoiler, is he's putting Superman into the military. And you get to that point at the very end of the first issue, he goes into the academy. And I was like, what the fuck? And why is this a Black Label book? There's nothing
Black Label about it.
There's nothing Black Label. There's one scene where they could have gone hard, and I won't spoil it, but it deals with his and Lana's relationship, and they didn't go all the way with it. They hinted that they could go that way. I was like, no, you can see them just backpedal.
Right.
And I was like, why?
You think it's unsatisfying for Superman to have sex because he can never go all out? Because you just
obliterate.
Yeah.
That's why Miller initially put him together with Wonder Woman.
Imagine every time you have sex, you have to go at like 20% speed and power.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would fucking suck.
And then the third one that you would definitely be interested in, has definitely been the best out of any series. Is only the first issue is Batman Last Night on Earth, where he's carrying around the head of the Joker. That is very creative, and that will be worth it. But to me, that doesn't even feel like it would be a Black Label book anyway. It just feels like an Elseworlds book.
Right. I will say, I think I'd have to draw a line in the sand and say, look, I'm only laying on my back and I'm doing no work. Because once I get started, I'm going for mine. Yeah. So it's on you. You know what I mean? Just make sure I get taken care of, and you know what I mean?
You don't have to worry about getting obliterated.
That would have to be the rule.
Then the one final thing that, when it eventually comes in a trade, I'll have to force you to read, because it's a Spider-Man story. But it's called Spider-Man Life Story. The 4th issue just came out. It's basically...
Sounds long.
But it's taking Kirby and Lee's original vision of keeping Parker in real time every year and extrapolating on that and just starting over from scratch. So every issue takes place over the course of a decade, and Parker ages in real time. So he starts in like 65.
Oh, interesting.
Where he's just getting out of high school. He's had his powers. It doesn't redo the origin, but it's almost like an Elseworlds version of Parker's life.
Interesting.
It has, and every issue, like the first 60s and 70s, deal with Vietnam and deal with real world impact of that stuff, and all the villains and stuff age with him.
I would be up for that.
So yeah, it's possibly, depending on how they round it out, because the 90s issue just came out, and then they're going to do the 2000s. The last one will be the 2010s. And depending on how they wrap it up, I could consider it possibly the best Spider-Man story I've ever read.
Well, I don't think there's a really high mark for that.
Yeah, I'm a major Spider-Man fan, though. So
even still,
yeah,
I don't think that's a guy with there's very rare where you speak to a Spider-Man fan. Even I'll be like, rattle me off your five Spider-Man.
5?
Yeah, like and it's like there is like, what's the one where the Last Hunt or whatever, like that one.
Craven's Last Hunt.
That gets mentioned.
Death of Gene D. Wolfe is another one.
Death of Gene D. Wolfe.
Yeah, it's his friend from the police force.
Okay, but I just feel like that's not a character with a whole lot of great stories behind him.
Okay,
he's a great character, and he's got great villains.
Yeah.
Probably the best villains in the Marvel universe, with the exception maybe of the X-Men. And he's super cool in everybody else's story. he makes everybody else's book better. He's like garlic powder.
You add them to every Italian meal.
But who undoes a thing of garlic powder and pours it down the throat? And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that out of hate. I'm saying that out of just.
He's got his lane. He should stick to it. Like
no. I
something
think,
that he's good at.
No, I think you can make some great Spider-Man stories. I just think that most of the times they get super goofy. I think Superior Spider-Man is goofy as fuck. Like it's like a brain transplant without a brain transplant. It's just like the premise of it is just
dumb
60s cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think that's a big problem that it faces. But yeah, I saw it, but that sounds good.
It's really cool.
I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing before we get out of here. No, it doesn't appear to be anything.
Everybody else?
It's supposed to be real quick. There's supposed to be a Rise of Skywalker poster at SDCC.
I didn't ask you about what you thought of all the hubbub about the different translation of title in different languages.
Oh, the Dawn of Sky. To me, that just
Japanese
to me that just lends credence to the idea of Skywalker being the next order, is what that does. But I also think it's an interesting thing to contemplate that Rise of Skywalker doesn't have anything to do with Luke at all,
right?
And then it's more about Kylo.
Okay.
Shout out to Raul. I didn't get to talk to Raul. I meant to talk to Raul about something, but I didn't get to talk to him. Shout out to Dante, holding down the Facebook, and Mr. Manny, of course, who was great seeing. I feel so
Yeah,
good.
he was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to interact with him a little bit.
Yeah, it's great seeing. Like, it was great to have. That was a great night for me.
You just would like to see him because you get to see his girl.
That's it. She's a good-looking woman. But it's great to interact with people that you don't get to see often, and but I always feel guilty about them making the trip. Like it's like such a long trip, and I'm like, dude,
I couldn't believe Tyler was here. I was like,
exactly,
whoa, dude.
Exactly. Shout out to Gort, co-host Force Sensitive, and is there anybody else I'm missing?
Adam and Chris.
Of course, Adam and Chris. Well, Chris, not Adam.
Oh yeah, hey, spiritually.
Adam's gone, man. But shout out to Chris. He's very busy, and I think that's it. Because I don't know what's going on with anybody else.
Yeah, that's like that. Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it alone.
We'll figure out. It's 201 was a new start.
So why don't you go first?
Velveeta Vagina.
Clappy Vegas.
Tight Dick Player.